Some giants aren't myths, they are colossal, ancient structures scattered across the world, hidden in deserts, jungles, cliffs, and frozen lands. Monuments so massive and mysterious, they defy everything we thought humans could build, standing as silent witnesses to civilizations that dared to shape the impossible. Buried, abandoned, or long forgotten, these megastructures guard secrets older than recorded history, waiting for someone curious enough to uncover them. If you want to explore the impossible, hit like and subscribe. The forgotten Colossus of Tarhuna. In the dry wind-burned highlands of western Libya, far from the bustling cities and the noise of modern life, lies a plateau that seems untouched by time. Locals call it Tarhuna, a name whispered more than spoken, a place where the sand never stays still, where the earth seems to breathe with secrets. For centuries travelers passed by its barren ridges and thought little of it, but buried beneath that quiet desert, beneath layers of forgotten centuries, lies something that should not exist, something that defies our entire timeline of civilization. It is said that once a giant stood here, a statue so massive, so precisely carved, that even the tools of today would struggle to recreate it. Yet according to everything we know, it was built in an age when humanity had no metal, no wheels, and no written language. The story began in 1933, when Italian surveyors mapping the Libyan plateau stumbled across a field of strange stone fragments scattered across the sand. They weren't the rough stones of natural erosion. These were enormous blocks, perfectly cut, some weighing over 20 tons, arranged as if they had once formed part of an enormous structure. At the center, half buried and broken in two, lay what appeared to be the remains of a colossal statue. The torso of a man, carved from a single piece of limestone, his arms folded across his chest in silent endurance. Even in ruin, it radiated power. The proportions, the symmetry, the polish of the surface, everything about it seemed impossibly advanced for any known civilization of the region. The locals called it the guardian of the plateau. To them it was older than Egypt, older than the Nile itself. When archaeologists examined the fragments, they found something they could not explain. The stone bore circular scoring marks, as if it had been sliced and drilled by a rotating tool. Under magnification, the grooves looked eerily similar to those left by modern diamond-tipped saws. But according to the accepted history of the region, the people who lived here 8,000 years ago had nothing more than copper chisels. Some of the fragments even showed signs of partial vitrification. The stone itself melted along thin veins, as though it had been exposed to extreme focused heat. Nothing in the archaeological record could account for that. The evidence didn't fit into any known timeline. It was as if someone had used an industrial machine, thousands of years before industry existed. And so the questions began. Who carved the Colossus of Tarhuna? Who possessed the knowledge and strength to move stones the size of houses across a barren plateau? Local legends tell of the tall builders, beings who came from across the sea long before the desert was born. They were said to have spoken to the stone, to have known its voice, shaping it not with brute force but with resonance, with sound. Their tools glowed with light, their temples hummed like music. For centuries these tales were dismissed as folklore, until now, when the marks on the stone seemed to whisper that maybe, just maybe, the old stories weren't stories at all. Further analysis dated the site far beyond the timeline of the Garamantes, the ancient Libyan civilization known for their underground cities. Charcoal found beneath one of the fallen stones was radiocarbon dated to nearly 10,000 years ago, long before Egypt raised its first pyramid. If those dates are accurate, Tarhuna predates not only Egypt, but organized civilization itself, which means we are not looking at a provincial statue, but a remnant of something far older, perhaps a memory of a forgotten world. When the layout of the foundations was mapped, another mystery emerged. The blocks formed a geometric pattern aligned perfectly to magnetic north, a precision only rivaled by the Great Pyramid of Giza. Could that be coincidence? Or does it suggest that both sites, though thousands of miles apart, were built according to the same ancient blueprint? Beneath the base of the ruined Colossus, ground-penetrating radar revealed hollow chambers carved into basalt. Their walls were smooth, almost polished. Inside, archaeologists recovered shards of dense glossy black material, a kind of glass laced with metallic traces. To melt such material, you would need temperatures higher than 1500 degrees Celsius. No Bronze Age culture could achieve that. The material was later sealed away in university vaults, and the results of its analysis were never made public. In 2018, scientists from the University of Tripoli conducted a geomagnetic survey of the plateau. What they found was even more extraordinary. Beneath the ruins, a magnetic distortion pulsed, as though a massive metallic object lay buried deep below. The readings were so strong that the instruments flickered. Some suggested the presence of a magnetic core, others whispered about something mechanical. Before further work could begin, the government abruptly restricted access to the site, declaring it a protected cultural zone. Since then, no excavation has been allowed. The sands have reclaimed the ruins, and the Colossus sleeps once more beneath the desert. But if Tarhuna truly hides an ancient secret, it might not be alone. Across the world, structures echo the same impossible craftsmanship. In Turkey's Göbekli Tepe, carved pillars over 12,000 years old show the same geometric perfection. In Peru's Sacsayhuaman, the stone blocks interlock with vibration-proof precision. And in Egypt, the colossi of Memnon stand as guardians of the Nile, carved in proportions nearly identical to the Tarhuna giant. Different continents, different peoples, and yet the same language of stone. Could it be that these were not separate cultures, but scattered remnants of one lost civilization? A civilization erased by time, remembered only through myth. Some researchers have begun calling Tarhuna a blueprint site, a testing ground for technologies that would later appear in Egypt. The theory suggests that these ancient engineers used sound, magnetism, and heat, not as mystical forces, but as tools, manipulating the natural frequencies of the earth itself to move and shape stone. The Colossus may not have been merely a statue. It may have been part of a machine, an instrument built to focus energy, or perhaps to store it. The magnetic anomalies beneath the plateau, the vitrified rock, the geometric alignment, all point toward a purpose far greater than ceremony or art. But if this was a machine, what was it for? Power? Communication? Protection? Mainstream archaeology refuses to speculate, to accept that Tarhuna predates Egypt and was built with technology far beyond the Stone Age would mean rewriting the story of civilization itself. It would mean admitting that human history may not be a straight line from primitive to advanced, but a circle rising, falling, and rising again. And perhaps the builders of Tarhuna were the last echo of a previous rise, a forgotten chapter erased by cataclysm. Today the winds sweep endlessly across the plateau, erasing footprints in covering stone. The Colossus lies broken, its face lost to time. The tools that shaped it, the people who built it, the purpose it served, all vanished into the desert silence. Yet the precision remains. The stone still holds its impossible secrets, and those who stand among its ruins often speak of a strange hum beneath the ground, as though the earth itself remembers. Perhaps one day when the sands shift again, the truth of Tarhuna will rise to the surface, not as myth, but as evidence. And when that happens, we may finally have to ask the question no historian wants to answer. What if civilization didn't begin in Egypt, but long before it, and Tarhuna was one of the last voices of a world that built in ways we still cannot understand? Because sometimes the oldest ruins aren't the beginning of history, they're the ashes of something far greater, something the earth itself is still trying to forget. Sentinel of the Nubian sands, beneath the relentless sun of the Nubian desert, where the horizon shimmers and the air itself feels ancient, there stands a mystery that refuses to fade, a figure so weathered by time, it seems to have grown out of the earth itself. Locals call it the Sentinel, a silent guardian carved from sandstone, watching over the desert's endless waves of gold. To the untrained eye it looks like nothing more than a half-buried statue, eroded and broken. But to those who've studied it, to those who have stood before it in the heat and stillness, it is something else entirely. It is a monument that should not exist. The story of the Nubian Sentinel begins in the 1920s, when a British expedition team, led by archaeologist Sir Reginald Carrington, stumbled across an isolated ridge while surveying near the ancient trade routes that once connected Egypt and Sudan. What they found that day defied all expectations. A colossal figure carved directly into a sandstone outcrop, its body mostly consumed by shifting dunes. Its features were indistinct, but its form unmistakable, a towering humanoid shape with arms folded across its chest, as if in eternal vigilance. Carrington's journal described it simply, a figure of impossible antiquity, carved with an art that predates art itself. Even in its damaged state, the Sentinel measured over 10 meters tall. What baffled Carrington's team most wasn't its size, but its craftsmanship. The surface of the stone was smooth, unnaturally smooth, as if it had been melted or molded rather than chiseled. When the team examined the area under magnification, they discovered tiny parallel grooves etched across the statue's surface, not random erosion marks but deliberate striations, as though made by a rotary tool. Yet this figure, by all geological accounts, had been standing for more than 9,000 years. That would place its construction thousands of years before the first pharaohs, before written language, before bronze, before any known civilization had the technology to carve stone on this scale. For decades, the Sentinel was dismissed as a natural formation, but in 1977, a satellite imaging project conducted over northern Sudan revealed something extraordinary. Beneath the dunes surrounding the statue, a perfect geometric alignment appeared. The sand concealed a pattern of rectangular foundations radiating outward from the Sentinel's base, like spokes of a wheel. The structure was massive, nearly 300 meters across. Archaeologists realized they weren't looking at an isolated statue at all, but the remains of a complex, an ancient platform, perhaps even a temple, long lost to the desert. When ground teams returned to the site, they uncovered fragments of stone inscribed with strange angular markings, symbols unlike any known Egyptian hieroglyphs or Nubian scripts. The symbols repeated in precise intervals, as if encoding measurements or frequencies rather than words. Some researchers speculated they could represent harmonic ratios, mathematical patterns that correspond to sound vibrations. Others believed the markings to be astronomical, alignments to specific stars that would have risen over the Nubian sky 10,000 years ago. Then came the most shocking discovery of all. In 2009, geologists analyzing the statue's composition found traces of fused quartz embedded within the sandstone, quartz that had been subjected to temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees Celsius. Such temperatures are not achievable through primitive fire. They would require advanced heat control, or energy technology, unknown to the ancient world. Even more bizarre, magnetic testing around the site revealed subtle anomalies, faint but distinct magnetic fields emanating from within the statue itself, as though some conductive material was buried deep inside the stone. It was then that whispers began, theories that stretched beyond traditional archaeology. Some suggested the Sentinel wasn't a statue at all, but part of a machine, a massive, energy-focusing monument designed to interact with the Earth's electromagnetic field. The placement of the site on the 22nd parallel, the same latitude as the Great Pyramid of Giza, seemed too precise to be coincidence. The Sentinel's posture, its northward alignment, even the slope of its shoulders appeared mathematically calculated to match celestial coordinates. The entire structure, they said, was a harmonic resonator, a bridge between Earth and sky, built in an age when humans supposedly had no understanding of such things. Yet local tribes had spoken of the Sentinel long before archaeologists arrived. Their oral traditions tell of a watcher of the sands, a being of stone who guarded the path of the sun. According to their stories, the Sentinel was one of 7 guardians placed across the ancient world to preserve a lost power, an energy that once flowed through the earth before a great flood silenced it. When the flood came, the guardians fell asleep beneath the sand, waiting for the day when the desert would speak again. Most historians dismiss these legends as myth, but the uncanny consistency of the story across Nubian tribes has raised questions. Could these tales be cultural memories of a lost civilization? A civilization erased by cataclysm, whose monuments now lie broken and half-buried across the continents? If the Sentinel of Tarhuna hinted at this, the Sentinel of Nubia might confirm it. The two sites, Libya and Sudan, align almost perfectly along a north-south axis. When connected on a map, their line extends directly through Giza and the Great Pyramid, forming part of an ancient geodetic network that stretches across Africa. What was this alignment for? Coincidence or design? When drone scans of the surrounding dunes were conducted in 2016, researchers found what appeared to be subsurface cavities arranged in a circular pattern, possibly chambers or tunnels beneath the statue. Some claimed the echoes picked up by ground radar hinted at metallic reflections, as though something metallic lay hidden deep below. But just as excavation permits were being discussed, political conflict in the region froze all operations. Access to the site was quietly restricted. To this day, no official excavation has resumed. Still, whispers persist. Locals claim that during sandstorms, strange lights appear near the base of the statue, bluish glows that flicker for seconds and vanish. Some researchers attribute this to piezoelectric effects from the quartz within the sandstone, but others aren't convinced. They speak of resonance, that the Sentinel may still hum faintly with a frequency that only the desert can hear. The Sentinel's expression, if it ever had one, is long gone, worn away by millennia of wind, but its presence remains undeniable. Standing before it, you feel a gravity, not just of size but of time. You sense that it has seen things humanity has forgotten. Perhaps it once marked a portal, or a boundary, or a warning. Perhaps it was built to preserve something we are not yet ready to understand. Whatever it wasn't built by primitive hands. Its geometry, its alignments, its inexplicable precision, all of it suggests intent, design, and knowledge that should not have existed in that era. If the Sentinel is truly what it appears to be, a relic of an advanced pre-Egyptian world, then we are forced to ask a question that echoes through every ancient mystery. How many times has civilization risen and fallen before us? How many technologies, how many languages, how many ways of understanding the universe have been born, perfected, and then lost to sand and silence? The Sentinel of the Nubian sands stands as both monument and message. It reminds us that the desert is not empty. It is a graveyard of forgotten genius. Somewhere beneath those dunes, beneath centuries of wind and denial, lie the remains of an intelligence that may have once reshaped the very foundations of the world. And maybe, as the sands shift again, the Sentinel will reveal its true purpose, not as a statue, but as a signal from the deep past, waiting to be heard, because in the end, the silence of the desert is not the absence of sound. It's the echo of something we've forgotten, something that might change everything we think we know about where we came from and who we really are. The Skywatcher of Tiahuanaco, high in the wind-swept plains of the Bolivian Andes, where the air is thin and the silence feels ancient, there stands a city that should not exist. Its stones are older than the myths that describe them. Its walls, cut with impossible precision, seem to defy the tools and knowledge of their supposed age. This is Tiahuanaco, a city the Incas themselves once said was built by the gods. And among its ruins, surrounded by broken monoliths and half-buried gateways, stands a single carved figure, the one locals call the Skywatcher. He's not large, not like the colossal statues of Egypt or Easter Island, but there's something haunting about him. Carved from a single block of hard andesite, his eyes are deep and symmetrical, forever staring upward. His face is calm but focused, his hands clasped to his chest as if holding something unseen. Etched across his body are strange symbols, spirals, grids, and geometric designs that seem to carry meaning, but none that modern scholars can decode. At first glance, the Skywatcher looks like a statue, but the more you look, the more mechanical he seems. Around his neck is a collar carved with perfect lines and shapes that resemble buttons or dials. His chest displays a rectangular pattern, a panel almost, and some researchers have suggested it might not represent clothing at all, but something functional, something technological. The figure stands in alignment with several key structures at Tiahuanaco, including the Gate of the Sun, a monolithic archway covered in astronomical symbols. When the first light of the solstice sun breaks over the horizon, it falls perfectly across the statue's face. His eyes glow gold for a few seconds, as if he's awakening with the dawn. Was that an accident? Or was it a deliberate act of celestial engineering? A reminder that whoever built this place understood the stars far better than we think. The Skywatcher isn't alone in his mystery. The city itself defies every timeline. Some archaeologists say it's 3,000 years old. Others argue for 10,000. Local myths go even further, saying the city existed before the Great Flood, when the stars were different and the world was young. At over 13,000 feet above sea level, Tiahuanaco is one of the highest ancient sites on Earth, built on a barren plateau where agriculture is nearly impossible. So why would anyone build here? Unless it wasn't just a city, unless it was something else entirely, an observatory, a power center, or perhaps a beacon. The stone used here is andesite, one of the hardest rocks on the planet. To carve it, even with modern diamond tools, is slow and punishing work. Yet the builders of Tiahuanaco shaped it with mathematical perfection. Tight-fitting blocks, smooth interiors, drilled holes, and machine-like symmetry. There are no tool marks consistent with copper chisels or primitive methods. Instead, there are patterns that look as though they were bored, cut, or polished with energy far beyond simple stone tools. And then there's the orientation. The entire city is built with astronomical precision. Alignments connect to the solstices, to lunar cycles, and even to the rising of certain stars. When researchers ran simulations of the night sky thousands of years into the past, they found that the Skywatcher's gaze aligns not with today's stars but with Sirius, the dog star, one of the brightest in the heavens. 12,000 years ago, Sirius rose exactly where the statue looks today. Across the ancient world, Sirius held deep meaning. In Egypt, it marked the flooding of the Nile. In Sumer, it was linked to the gods who descended from the heavens. Could it be that the same star guided civilizations separated by oceans and continents? And if so, was the Skywatcher a part of that forgotten global story, a chapter of humanity's past erased by time? In 1994, a Bolivian research team used portable X-ray equipment on the statue. What they found startled them. The density of the stone wasn't consistent. Some internal sections appeared hollow, or less compact, almost like channels or chambers existed inside. They couldn't see into them, but it suggested that the statue might have been designed for resonance, perhaps to conduct sound or energy. Local legends suddenly made more sense. The Aymara people spoke of the gatekeepers of the stars, beings who could speak to the heavens through stone. The Skywatcher, they said, wasn't just looking at the stars, he was listening. At night when the wind sweeps over the plateau, people say the statue hums, not audibly, but if you stand near it, you can feel a faint vibration in the air, a low frequency that seems to come from nowhere. Geologists have blamed shifting temperatures, or ground tremors, but ancient myths speak of sound as a sacred force, a tool that could shape, move, and even levitate stone. Could the Skywatcher be more than a monument? Could it have been part of a vast acoustic system, a technology that once linked the Earth to the sky through vibration and frequency? The strange thing is that these ideas aren't isolated. Across the planet we find the same themes: stone aligned with the heavens, figures staring toward the stars, and myths of teachers who came from above. The Dogon tribe in West Africa, thousands of miles from Bolivia, worshipped a god who came from Sirius and taught them astronomy they could not have possibly known. In Egypt, Sirius marked the rebirth of the god Osiris. And in South America, the Aymara said their gods, the Viracochas, arrived from the sea, pale and bearded, bringing light and knowledge before disappearing once more into the sky. When you step back and look at the Skywatcher with this in mind, the lines begin to blur between myth and memory, between legend and lost history. Maybe the statue isn't symbolic. Maybe it's literal, a record of contact, an echo of an age when humanity still spoke with the stars. Some researchers have tried to link the Skywatcher to the so-called Puma Punku complex nearby, where massive blocks lie scattered like pieces of an exploded machine. Those stones, carved from the same andesite, fit together with such precision that even laser measurements today can't explain how they were made. Was the Skywatcher their overseer, the guardian of the city's celestial code, or perhaps the key to unlocking it? Over the decades, countless expeditions have come here, seeking answers. Some brought science, others brought faith, and many left more confused than when they arrived. But all agreed on one thing: Tiahuanaco feels ancient in a way that time itself cannot describe. It feels like memory turned to stone. When you stand before the Skywatcher, the wind carries the scent of dust and salt, reminders that this plateau was once a seashore, thousands of years before recorded history. The lake that once surrounded Tiahuanaco receded, leaving behind desolation and ruin. And yet this figure still stands, still watching, still waiting. Perhaps the Skywatcher is more than a statue. Perhaps he's a timestamp, a relic left behind by an earlier cycle of civilization, one that rose and fell long before us. A world that mastered stone, energy, and stars, and then vanished in a great cataclysm. Maybe the builders of Tiahuanaco weren't looking up for worship, but for remembrance. In every age, humanity has looked to the sky for answers, to measure time, to seek gods, to find our origins. The Skywatcher is all of that carved into one form, a reminder that the stars are not just above us, but a part of us. His eyes fixed on the heavens carry the same question we still ask today: where do we come from? And who were the ones who came before? The wind will keep blowing, the plateau will keep eroding, and we'll keep searching. But the Skywatcher doesn't move. He stands as he always has, patient, eternal, staring toward the stars as if he already knows the answer, and is simply waiting for humanity to remember it. The whispering titan of Petra. Hidden among the blood-red cliffs of southern Jordan lies Petra, the legendary Rose City, where the desert keeps its secrets locked behind stone. To most, Petra is a masterpiece of ancient architecture, a marvel carved directly into sandstone by the Nabateans over 2,000 years ago. But for a few who have ventured deeper, beyond the tourist trails and the treasury's grand facade, something else rests beneath the desert's quiet surface, a presence older than the city itself. They call it the Whispering Titan. The story began in the late 1990s, when a violent sandstorm ripped across the Wadi Musa Valley. After the storm passed, archaeologists noticed a fissure had opened in a remote ridge east of Petra's main site. Inside, they discovered a vast hollow chamber, and standing at its heart, a colossal statue carved directly from the living rock. Over 15 meters tall, weathered by time, yet impossibly intact. The figure seemed to be frozen mid-breath. Its arms were crossed like a guardian. Its eyes, half eroded, stared into the darkness. But the strangest part wasn't what they saw, it was what they heard. As the desert wind funneled through the cracks, a low resonant hum filled the chamber. The tone wasn't random. It vibrated at a perfect harmonic frequency, deep and constant, as if the stone itself were alive. Locals began calling it the Whispering Titan, believing it was an ancient guardian left to watch over something buried below. At first, scientists dismissed the stories as desert superstition, but as researchers studied the site, the mystery only deepened. The chamber walls were perfectly smooth, not chiseled, not rough-hewn, but melted, almost glassy in texture. The tools used to make them were unlike anything in the Nabatean record, and when dating was done on the surrounding rock, the erosion patterns didn't match Petra's known monuments. The Titan's age appeared to predate the rest of the city by thousands of years, possibly as far back as 8,000 years ago. That would mean this colossal sculpture was built long before the rise of the Nabateans, before recorded civilization even reached this part of the world. And yet whoever made it understood acoustics on a level we're only beginning to grasp. When modern sound engineers studied the chamber, they found that it was designed to resonate at 7.83 Hz, the same frequency as the Earth's own electromagnetic heartbeat, known as the Schumann resonance. Somehow, this ancient space was tuned to the planet's natural rhythm. Could this be coincidence? Or was it deliberate? The work of a civilization that understood sound, vibration, and resonance, not as superstition, but as technology. Petra has always been a city of illusions, its facades glowing like fire at dawn, its tombs echoing with voices that seem older than time. But the Whispering Titan felt different. The magnetic readings near its base fluctuated unpredictably. Electronic compasses spun without warning. And when researchers tried to record the hum, their audio equipment picked up layers of tones beneath human hearing, a kind of coded rhythm, pulsing through the sandstone like a heartbeat. What was this place designed for? Some suggested it was a temple of sound, a chamber meant to amplify prayer or chant, resonating with the human voice to induce trance-like states. Others believed it was built to store or channel energy, much like the mysterious granite boxes in Egypt's Serapeum. But a growing number of independent researchers began to notice something stranger. The hum of the Whispering Titan seemed to synchronize with environmental changes. When the desert air cooled, the frequency shifted. When lightning struck nearby, the vibrations grew louder, almost as if the statue wasn't just stone, but part of a larger network, a kind of ancient sensor or conduit connected to the earth itself. Ancient builders across the world, from Egypt to Bolivia, from Malta to India, carved structures that seemed to defy explanation. Their stones were cut with impossible precision, their alignments tuned to stars, solstices, and sound. Could Petra's whispering titan belong to that same forgotten blueprint, remnants of a prehistoric science that once united sky, earth, and human consciousness? As archaeologists explored further, they found that the chamber's entrance aligned perfectly with the sunrise on the spring equinox. For a few moments each year, sunlight pierces the fissure, striking the titan's face, and when it does, the hum intensifies. Instruments inside the chamber recorded measurable energy fluctuations, not seismic, but electromagnetic. Even the temperature shifted by a few degrees. No ancient monument should behave this way. The Bedouin of the region tell stories of a sleeping guardian beneath the red stone, a being who will awaken when the voice of the earth returns. Most historians interpret this as mythology, but when you stand inside that chamber, surrounded by walls that vibrate to the rhythm of the planet, it's hard not to wonder, was this myth built upon a memory? What if the Titan was never meant to be a god or idol, but a device, a kind of ancient resonator, designed to stabilize or measure the Earth's energy field? Some researchers point to its folded arms, suggesting they mirror the Nabatean symbol for protection or containment. Perhaps it wasn't guarding treasure, but guarding power. When infrared scans were performed in the early 2000s, they revealed a dense object buried inside the statue's chest, too large to be a void, too symmetrical to be random. Some believe it could be a metallic core. Others think it might contain quartz, a mineral known for its piezoelectric properties, capable of generating charge when under pressure or vibration. If that's true, the Whispering Titan might be one of the oldest examples of resonant technology on Earth, a monument that literally sings with the planet. Today the site remains sealed to the public. Officially, it's for preservation. Unofficially, rumors persist that those who entered in recent years reported unusual experiences, dizziness, faint whispers, and instruments that malfunctioned in impossible ways. One team member even claimed he felt the ground breathing. Maybe it's just superstition. Maybe it's just the wind. But there's something haunting about Petra's silence, the way its stones seem to remember everything. If the Whispering Titan truly predates the city, then Petra wasn't just a Nabatean wonder. It was a restoration of something far older, a civilization that may have understood the voice of the earth and built monuments to keep it singing. Perhaps that's what the ancients were trying to preserve, not a religion, but a frequency. And if the Whispering Titan is still humming after thousands of years, maybe it's not finished yet. Maybe it's still waiting for someone or something to listen. The Serpent Lord of Uxmal. Deep in the Yucatan Peninsula, hidden beneath the thick green canopy of jungle, lies the ancient city of Uxmal. Known for its intricate mosaics and towering pyramids, Uxmal has long captivated archaeologists and travelers alike. But beyond its celebrated architecture, there is a presence that has been quietly guarding secrets for centuries. A colossal figure known as the Serpent Lord. Unlike the human-shaped sculptures scattered across Mesoamerica, the Serpent Lord is a giant representation of a coiled, horned serpent, its stone body stretching across the temple walls, undulating like a living creature frozen in time. Locals have whispered about it for generations, recounting tales of a being so powerful it once commanded the very elements around the city. The first modern sightings were recorded in the early 20th century. Archaeologists exploring the northern pyramids noticed unusual erosion patterns in one of the temple terraces. Amidst the worn stones, they uncovered massive serpent carvings, larger than any previously found in the region, embedded directly into the limestone bedrock. The sheer size of the Serpent Lord suggested it was never merely decorative. Each curve, each scale, and each ridge seemed deliberate, as if designed to serve a purpose beyond art. When the team returned for a full excavation, they discovered that the serpent's eyes aligned perfectly with the movements of Venus, one of the most important celestial bodies to the Maya. But alignment was only the beginning. Engineers and sound specialists were called in to examine the structure. When a tone was struck against certain stones, the vibrations traveled along the serpent's spine in a series of perfect harmonic intervals. Some researchers proposed that the Serpent Lord might have functioned as a form of resonance chamber, amplifying sounds for ritualistic ceremonies, or even communicating messages across the city in a primitive yet sophisticated acoustic network. The carvings themselves were extraordinarily precise. No tool marks visible to the naked eye suggested a method lost to modern understanding. How could a civilization, operating without metal tools of sufficient hardness, achieve such exacting detail on stones weighing multiple tons? And why would they invest such effort into a serpent that seemed almost alive? Local myths offer some clues. The Maya spoke of Kukulkan, the feathered serpent, who descended from the heavens to teach humans knowledge and wisdom. Could the Serpent Lord of Uxmal have been inspired by, or even built as, a monument to this deity? Perhaps. but the magnitude of the work hints at something more. The precision, the alignment with celestial events, and the acoustic properties all point to a level of technical mastery far beyond what we attribute to pre-Columbian societies. Exploring further, archaeologists discovered hidden chambers beneath the main temple. Here, smaller serpent motifs carved into the walls created a labyrinth of interlocking designs. Some chambers contained large smooth stones, arranged in patterns that suggest they were used to focus energy or amplify vibrations. Experiments with sound waves revealed that the chambers could carry certain tones across the complex, almost like a primitive communication system. Beyond the science, there is an aura surrounding the site. Visitors frequently report a sense of being watched, a slight unease, or even hearing faint whispers echoing along the terraces. Could these experiences be psychological, born from the myths and grandeur of the city? Possibly. Yet when standing near the Serpent Lord at dawn, as the first rays of light strike its scales, a subtle hum vibrates through the stone, perceptible only to the most attentive listener. Dating of the limestone and surrounding structures indicates that the Serpent Lord may predate much of the city itself, suggesting that it could have been part of a ritual site far older than the Uxmal pyramids. Some theorists argue it was a relic of a forgotten civilization, one that understood astronomy, acoustics, and architecture in ways we are only beginning to uncover. Could the Serpent Lord have served as a bridge, a connection between the heavens, the earth, and the people of Uxmal? Its precise alignment with celestial cycles, its acoustic properties, and its monumental size imply it was more than a mere idol. Perhaps it was designed to channel cosmic energy, or to serve as a repository of ancient knowledge, encoded in stone for future generations. Even today, the Serpent Lord continues to guard its secrets. Modern technology can only partially decode its mysteries. LIDAR scans reveal hidden terraces and tunnels, while acoustic studies hint at functions we have yet to fully comprehend. And for those willing to venture into the quiet corners of Uxmal, the presence of the Serpent Lord is undeniable. Standing beside it, one cannot help but feel a connection to something vast, ancient, and profoundly intelligent. The Serpent Lord of Uxmal is a reminder that ancient civilizations were not simply builders of stone. They were observers of the cosmos, experimenters in sound, and perhaps, keepers of knowledge lost to time. Every scale carved into its massive body, every alignment with the stars, every echo that rolls through its hidden chambers, speaks of a civilization that understood the earth and the heavens in ways we are only beginning to appreciate. And though centuries have passed, the Serpent Lord remains, a sentinel of mystery, waiting patiently for humanity to finally listen. The guardian of Göbekli Tepe. In the arid hills of southeastern Turkey, one of humanity's most profound mysteries quietly rests. Göbekli Tepe, a monumental site dating back over 12,000 years, challenges everything we thought we knew about prehistoric societies. Among its vast stone circles and intricately carved pillars, there exists a figure that has captured the imagination of archaeologists and researchers alike, a humanoid statue, now referred to as the Guardian of Göbekli Tepe. Unlike anything else from this era, the Guardian is not simply a stone carving, it is a towering sentinel, crafted with uncanny precision. Standing taller than any human likely existed at the time, it seems to observe the surrounding landscape with silent authority. Its arms are crossed over the chest, a posture that hints at reverence, ritual, or even warning. The craftsmanship is extraordinary. Despite being carved from hard limestone, the statue's contours are precise, its details deliberate, and its presence commanding. Göbekli Tepe itself was built during a time when humans were supposedly still hunter-gatherers, without settled cities, without metal tools, without even the wheel. Yet here, in this remote region, someone or some civilization constructed vast circles of T-shaped pillars, some weighing up to 20 tons, and adorned them with images of predators, birds, and abstract symbols. The Guardian stands among these monuments as if to protect secrets that predate recorded history. When first discovered in the 1990s, the site stunned archaeologists. Klaus Schmidt, the German archaeologist leading the excavation, noted that the scale and complexity of the work suggested a level of social organization and technological knowledge far beyond what conventional history attributed to hunter-gatherers. How could a society without agriculture and advanced tools carve, transport, and erect such massive stones? And why create a humanoid figure to stand sentinel over these circles? The carvings on the Guardian and surrounding pillars offer tantalizing clues. Stylized depictions of animals, abstract geometric patterns, and enigmatic symbols cover its base. Some researchers speculate that these motifs represent constellations, celestial cycles, or even encoded astronomical knowledge. Others believe the Guardian itself may have had a ritualistic role, acting as a bridge between humans and the unknown forces these ancient builders sought to honor. Acoustic experiments conducted within the circles revealed another layer of mystery. Certain frequencies, when produced near the pillars, resonate throughout the site. Could the Guardian and other pillars have functioned as part of an acoustic system, amplifying sounds for ceremonies or communication? The thought that a prehistoric society could manipulate sound and space so intentionally is staggering. Further intrigue comes from the site's age. Radiocarbon dating places the construction of Göbekli Tepe around 9600 BCE, thousands of years before Stonehenge, the Egyptian pyramids, or any known city. This guardian, and the civilization that crafted it, existed in a time we once believed humans were barely mastering stone tools. It forces us to reconsider the origins of organized society, art, and spirituality. Local folklore adds a layer of mystique. Villagers in the region tell tales of ancient beings who walked the hills long before humans learned to cultivate wheat. Could the guardian be a remnant of these stories? Perhaps it was meant to embody wisdom, power, or the memory of a people who witnessed events now lost to time. The scale of the statue also hints at engineering sophistication. Moving and erecting a stone of this size would require knowledge of leverage, weight distribution, and labor organization. The guardian was not casually placed. Its location within the largest circle, facing a precise orientation toward other pillars, suggests it was deliberately positioned to serve a purpose, spiritual, astronomical, or otherwise. Modern visitors to Göbekli Tepe report a profound sense of awe. Standing beside the guardian, one can almost feel the weight of millennia pressing down. Its presence evokes questions that archaeology alone cannot answer. Who built this? Why build it so early, with such ambition? And what knowledge did they possess that vanished entirely from history? Despite decades of study, the Guardian's secrets remain largely intact. High-resolution scans, 3D reconstructions, and even ground-penetrating radar have revealed more pillars, hidden chambers, and carvings yet to be fully understood. Yet every discovery only deepens the mystery, hinting at a society whose intellectual and spiritual achievements far exceeded our assumptions about prehistory. The Guardian of Göbekli Tepe is more than a statue. It is a testament to the ingenuity, ambition, and perhaps even the unknown knowledge of our ancestors. Its silent gaze challenges us to look beyond conventional history, to question what we think we know about the dawn of civilization, and to marvel at the enduring mysteries carved in stone long before recorded time. Standing in the shadow of the Guardian, one is left with a singular realization: the past was far richer, more complex, and more astonishing than we ever imagined. And though we may never fully understand it, the Guardian continues its vigil, silently waiting for the day humanity catches up with the wisdom it embodies. The Cliff Sentinel of Bandiagara. In the sun-scorched lands of Mali, where the Sahel meets the sweeping cliffs of the Bandiagara escarpment, a silent figure has stood watch for centuries. This natural fortress, a dramatic wall of sandstone rising hundreds of meters above the plains, shelters villages, granaries, and secrets carved in stone. Among these ancient constructions, one monument commands both awe and mystery, a cliffside statue, now known as the Cliff Sentinel of Bandiagara. Unlike the colossal temples of Egypt, or the stone circles of Europe, the sentinel does not announce itself with grandeur. It hides, nestled in the sheer faces of cliffs, partially eroded by time, yet remarkably intact. The figure, humanoid in form, seems to peer down from its rocky perch, as if guarding not only the escarpment, but the stories and histories embedded in its shadows. Its expression, though weathered, is one of stern vigilance, conveying authority and a profound, almost spiritual presence. The origins of the sentinel are difficult to trace. Scholars estimate it to be several centuries old, yet its style and purpose challenge conventional understanding. Carved directly from the cliff face, it required both extraordinary skill and an intimate knowledge of the stone. Each line, each contour, is deliberate. Unlike the smaller figurines or portable statues found elsewhere in West Africa, the Cliff Sentinel is monumental, a testament to the ambition and vision of the people who created it. The Dogon people, whose villages cling to the escarpment, regard the cliffs as sacred. Their myths speak of beings who descended from the sky, of spirits who walked the land long before the first settlements. Could the Sentinel be a vestige of these stories? Some anthropologists suggest that these cliff figures, along with the granaries and caves, were markers, guardians of knowledge, memory, and ritual. Others believe the sentinel may have had an astronomical function, aligned with the sun, moon, or stars in ways that guided agricultural and ceremonial calendars. As with many cliffside sculptures, the act of creation itself is staggering. Imagine climbing vertical rock faces, chiseling stone with rudimentary tools, and sculpting a figure that has endured centuries of wind, rain, and the harsh African sun. The physical and intellectual mastery required is immense, yet the sentinel's presence seems effortless, as though it emerged naturally from the rock itself. The cliff statues of Bandiagara are not isolated anomalies. Alongside the sentinel, smaller figures, niches, and carved symbols pepper the escarpment, each one whispering fragments of forgotten history. Some researchers speculate that the sentinel was part of a broader network, a system of guardians, marking sacred sites, burial grounds, or areas of ritual significance. Others see it as a protective figure, a silent observer meant to deter intruders or guide villagers. Archaeological exploration in this region is challenging. The cliffs are steep, the terrain unforgiving, and much of the escarpment remains unexplored, yet those who venture close speak of an almost spiritual experience. Standing beneath the sentinel, one feels the weight of centuries pressing down, a palpable connection to the hands and minds that shaped it. There is a stillness here, a quiet that invites contemplation, as if the statue itself demands reflection on the passage of time, human endeavor, and the persistence of memory. Erosion and the elements have left their mark, yet remarkably the sentinel endures. Its silhouette against the horizon evokes a human form larger than life, commanding attention and respect. It embodies the duality of permanence and fragility, carved to last, yet always at the mercy of nature. Each season, each storm, slowly reshapes it, reminding observers that even the most steadfast guardians must eventually yield to time. Local folklore enriches the mystery. Villagers tell tales of spirits inhabiting the cliffs, of guardians who watch over crops, children, and livestock. In some stories, the sentinel is not just stone, it is alive, a sentinel of memory, a bridge between the human and the divine. Whether myth or history, these narratives preserve the sentinel's significance, ensuring that even if its origins are lost, its presence remains central to cultural memory. The sentinel's placement is no accident. Carved into a cliff that dominates a valley below, it oversees both natural and human activity. From this vantage point, one can imagine the sculptors observing the land, understanding wind patterns, sun paths, and the movements of people. The positioning reflects careful planning, an awareness of geography, and a desire to integrate human creation seamlessly with the environment. Modern researchers are still piecing together the sentinel's full story. High-resolution scans, drone imaging, and ethnographic studies continue to reveal patterns and alignments that hint at deeper meanings. Yet for every answer uncovered, new questions arise. What prompted such monumental effort? What rituals or beliefs inspired its creation? And how did this knowledge, so advanced for its time, come to be lost in the historical record? Visitors today are struck not only by the statue itself, but by the entire landscape it inhabits. The Bandiagra escarpment is alive with history, caves filled with artifacts, granaries perched precariously, villages still practicing age-old traditions. The sentinel, carved into the heart of this dramatic geography, stands as a nexus of human ingenuity, spiritual aspiration, and the silent passage of centuries. The cliff sentinel of Bandiagra is more than a statue. It is a testament to human vision, creativity, and resilience. Its silent gaze challenges modern observers to reconsider assumptions about the people of West Africa, their technological capabilities, and their spiritual depth. It reminds us that the story of humanity is not linear, that knowledge can flourish, and yet vanish, leaving behind only echoes in stone and story. Standing in the shadow of the sentinel, one cannot help but feel a profound connection to the past. This is a place where history, myth, and artistry converge. The figure carved into the cliff face, weathered yet commanding, whispers across time, inviting us to witness, to wonder, and to honor the legacy of those who came before. And as the sun sets over the escarpment, casting long shadows that stretch across the valley below, the cliff sentinel remains vigilant, silent, immovable, yet imbued with purpose. It waits, guarding not only the land and its people, but the enduring mysteries of human ingenuity, spirituality, and the inexhaustible reach of imagination. The sand-buried Titan of Suez. In the heart of Egypt's western desert, far from the bustling Nile, lies the Suez oasis, a green jewel amidst endless sands, a place of water, palms, and history that stretches back millennia. Yet beneath the surface of this seemingly serene landscape rests a secret that has captivated archaeologists and explorers alike. A colossal, sand-buried statue, now known as the sand-buried Titan of Suez. Unlike the familiar pyramids or temples along the Nile, this Titan is hidden. For centuries, shifting sands have swallowed its form, leaving only whispers of its existence in local lore and fragmented reports by travelers. When first uncovered, the sheer scale of the statue stunned those who laid eyes on it. Rising from the sand in monumental silence, the Titan dwarfs any human presence, its features both imposing and enigmatic, a frozen testament to a civilization whose full story has long been lost. The statue is humanoid, yet its proportions are exaggerated, as if meant to convey power, divinity, or even a sense of cosmic authority. Its arms, partially visible beneath the sands, are carved with precision. Its face, though eroded by centuries of wind and grit, carries a solemnity that suggests wisdom or guardianship. Each chisel mark, each curve of the limestone, speaks to the extraordinary skill of the artisans who dared to sculpt on such a grand scale. Siwa itself has long been a place of mystery. The oasis was a crossroads of cultures, a meeting point of desert tribes, merchants, and pilgrims. Its springs and palms offered life in a harsh environment, and its people developed traditions and knowledge that intertwined practical survival with deep spirituality. Some scholars suggest the Titan was a guardian of this oasis, a sentinel designed to watch over water, wealth, or sacred spaces, preserving both the physical and spiritual heart of Siwa. The discovery of the Titan raises profound questions. Who built it, and why? Radiocarbon dating of surrounding materials hints at a civilization whose sophistication rivals more famous dynasties along the Nile. Yet unlike the pyramids or temples, the Titan was hidden, deliberately it seems, buried beneath sand for centuries. Was this a form of protection, a ritual concealment, or a symbolic return to the earth? Perhaps the builders sought to hide their knowledge, ensuring it would only be revealed to future generations deemed worthy. The sheer scale of the statue is extraordinary. Moving, carving, and erecting such a massive figure in the middle of a desert would have required meticulous planning, knowledge of leverage, and an organized workforce. Even more striking is the precision of the work. Despite exposure to shifting sands and the passage of millennia, the Titan retains a presence that commands attention, a silent reminder that human ambition has always reached for the extraordinary. Archaeologists have also noted curious patterns in the surrounding sands. Subtle alignments suggest that the statue's placement may have had astronomical significance, oriented to mark solstices, or the passage of stars important to the builder's calendar. The Titan, it seems, was not simply a sculpture, but part of a broader system of observation, ritual, and cultural expression. It represents a marriage of art, science, and belief, far ahead of its time. Local folklore adds another layer to the Titan's enigma. Siwa's inhabitants tell stories of giant figures buried beneath the sands, guardians who watched over springs, fields, and travelers. These tales speak of beings who were neither fully human nor divine, yet whose presence shaped the destiny of the oasis. Whether legend inspired the statue or the statue inspired the legend is impossible to determine, but the resonance between myth and stone is undeniable. Excavation is painstaking. Archaeologists must carefully remove centuries of sand, mindful of erosion, fragile limestone, and the risk of collapse. Each layer uncovered reveals not only the Titan itself, but also artifacts, pottery, and inscriptions that hint at a sophisticated culture, a people whose understanding of geometry, symbolism, and ritual rivaled the more documented civilizations of Egypt. Even partially unearthed, the Titan evokes a sense of awe. Standing beside it, the viewer is struck by the contrast between human scale and monumental ambition. It reminds us that in deserts, in forgotten oases, civilizations flourished beyond our current understanding, leaving behind monuments whose meaning is only slowly revealed. The Titan's style is also unusual. Unlike classical Egyptian statuary, with its rigid formulaic conventions, the Siwa Titan is bold, dynamic, and almost otherworldly. Its features suggest an artistic freedom, rare for monumental sculpture, yet every detail is deliberate, a careful balance of expression and symbolism. Some researchers speculate that it may represent a hybrid of local traditions and influences from distant cultures, reflecting Siwa's role as a nexus of trade and exchange. Modern technology continues to shed light on the Titan. Ground-penetrating radar, 3D scanning, and digital reconstructions reveal hidden details, subtle carvings, and structural techniques that hint at knowledge lost to time. Yet each discovery only deepens the mystery. Who envisioned this figure? What beliefs drove its creation? And why allow it to sink into the sands, hidden for so long? Visiting Siwa today, one cannot help but feel the weight of history pressing down. The oasis is alive with life, yet the presence of the buried Titan adds a layer of timelessness. Here is a monument that survived centuries of desert storms, human curiosity, and historical neglect. It stands as a testament to ingenuity, ambition, and the enduring human desire to leave a mark on the world. The sand-buried Titan is more than a statue. It is a bridge to the past, a silent witness to the lives, beliefs, and aspirations of a civilization we are only beginning to understand. Its enigmatic gaze, partially obscured by sands, invites reflection on the impermanence of life, the durability of human creativity, and the enduring power of myth made manifest in stone. As the sun dips behind the desert horizon, casting long shadows across the dunes, the Titan remains steadfast, buried yet vigilant, forgotten yet profound. It whispers across time, reminding us that history is not always where we expect it to be. Some of its greatest secrets lie hidden beneath our feet, waiting for the curious, the patient, and the daring to uncover them. And so the sand-buried Titan of Siwa continues its silent vigil. It is a sentinel of memory, a testament to human ingenuity, and a monument to the mysteries that endure, long after civilizations rise and fall. Standing in its presence, we are reminded that the sands of time conceal wonders beyond imagination, and that some guardians, once created, watch over humanity forever. The forgotten beast of Hampi. In the heart of India's Deccan Plateau lies Hampi, a surreal landscape of boulder-strewn hills, winding rivers, and the remnants of a once mighty empire. Here, amidst the ruins of Vijayanagara, a city that flourished between the 14th and 16th centuries, history speaks not only through crumbling temples and palaces, but also through stone creatures frozen in time. Among them, one statue stands apart, the forgotten beast of Hampi. Unlike the finely detailed human figures that adorn the city's monuments, this statue is animalistic, yet enigmatic, neither fully identifiable nor wholly symbolic. Carved from local granite, it rises from the ground with a presence that is both imposing and mysterious. Its posture suggests power, movement, and vigilance, as if it were a guardian, a protector, or perhaps a creature that straddles the line between reality and myth. The scale of the statue is immediately striking, towering above a visitor. Its broad shoulders and sinewy limbs convey strength and endurance. Every curve of its muscular form, every line etched into its surface, hints at a mastery of stonecraft that is as much technical as it is artistic. The sculptors of Hampi did not merely represent an animal, they imbued it with life, character, and a story, even if that story is now largely lost. Hampi itself was a city of extraordinary ambition. Once the capital of the Vijayanagara Empire, it was a hub of trade, culture, and devotion. Temples, marketplaces, and palaces were built with precision, combining aesthetic grandeur with functional design. Yet amidst this human achievement, the forgotten beast remains curiously enigmatic. Unlike religious icons or royal statues, its purpose is unclear. Some scholars suggest it was a guardian of sacred space, standing watch over a temple or a marketplace. Others believe it may have been symbolic, representing divine power, protection, or a mythic creature from local lore. The statue's style sets it apart. Its form is not naturalistic in the way that classical Indian sculpture often strives to be. Instead, it is dynamic, almost fantastical, capturing the essence of a creature that may have existed only in imagination. Its head, though partially eroded, conveys intensity, a gaze that seems to follow the viewer, alert and perceptive. Its limbs, carved with precision, suggest readiness and agility. It is a creature poised between action and stillness, forever frozen in a moment of vigilant watchfulness. The choice of location adds to its mystery. The forgotten beast is situated near a cluster of ruins, where temples, water tanks, and royal residences converge. Its placement implies significance, suggesting it was meant to interact with the surrounding structures, to guard, to impress, or to convey a narrative now lost. The fact that it has survived centuries of warfare, abandonment, and natural erosion speaks to both the resilience of the stone and the importance of its creators. Hampi's artisans were masters of symbolism and storytelling through stone. Every carving, every relief, tells a story of devotion, royalty, or cosmic order, yet the forgotten beast resists easy interpretation. Some scholars draw parallels to mythological creatures found in regional folklore, hybrids of lion, elephant, or mythical beasts that embody divine power. Others argue it could represent a now extinct animal, or an imaginative interpretation of nature, a bridge between the human world and the spiritual realm. Local legends add a layer of intrigue. Villagers and storytellers speak of enormous creatures that once roamed the rocky hills, guardians of treasures, or messengers of the gods. These tales are passed down through generations, often intertwined with the history of Vijayanagara, suggesting that the statue is not merely art, but a physical manifestation of enduring beliefs, a sentinel carved in stone to preserve memory, culture, and awe. Archaeologists have examined the statue from multiple angles. High-resolution scanning and structural analysis reveal techniques that indicate careful planning, mastery of proportion, and an understanding of weight distribution. The sculptors knew their medium intimately, carving the granite with tools that demanded precision and patience. Each mark, each incision, tells of human ingenuity and a deep reverence for the subject, whatever it may have represented. Standing before the forgotten beast, one feels a connection that transcends time. The air is thick with history, dust, and echoes of a civilization that once pulsed with life, music, devotion, and commerce. The statue embodies vigilance, endurance, and mystery, reminding us that not all history is recorded in books. Some of it is frozen in stone, waiting for the observer to wonder, question, and imagine. The survival of the statue is remarkable. Centuries of exposure to sun, rain, and occasional conflict could have erased it entirely. Yet here it stands, defiant, preserving not only its form, but the aura of the civilization that created it. It challenges modern observers to consider the stories that have been lost, the knowledge and creativity of a people whose voices are largely silent, yet whose presence endures in every curve and line of granite. Beyond artistry, the statue invites speculation about Hampi's culture, spirituality, and relationship with nature. Was the beast a protector of sacred spaces, a mythic symbol of divine authority, or a reminder of forces humans could not control yet revered? The ambiguity is intentional, perhaps, allowing it to transcend time, place, and culture, and to speak to every visitor who stands before it, marveling at its silent power. The forgotten beast also emphasizes the interplay between human ambition and the natural environment. Hampi's landscape, its boulders, rivers, and hills, shaped its architecture and art. The artisans did not merely carve, they integrated, blending stone, myth, and function. The statue, emerging naturally from the landscape, seems to belong as much to the terrain as to human hands, a sentinel at the boundary of civilization and wilderness. For modern visitors, the experience is profound. Observers describe a sense of awe, humility, and curiosity, as if encountering a living presence. The statue evokes questions that archaeology alone cannot answer. Who envisioned this creature? What stories did it witness? And what wisdom, cultural or spiritual, did it preserve for generations to come? The forgotten beast of Hampi is more than a sculpture. It is a testament to human imagination, craftsmanship, and spiritual aspiration. It is a bridge across centuries, a silent storyteller carved in stone, guarding secrets, memories, and mysteries that we are only beginning to comprehend. As the sun sets behind the boulder-strewn hills, casting elongated shadows across the ruins, the statue remains vigilant, silent, yet commanding, enigmatic, yet enduring. It watches over Hampi, a city of ruins, a landscape of stories, and a civilization whose echoes continue to resonate. Standing before it, one realizes that some guardians were never meant to be fully understood. Some mysteries are meant to endure, silent and eternal, like the forgotten beast of Hampi, the stone monk of Longmen. Along the banks of the Yi River in China's Henan province, cliffs rise like guardians over the water, their faces etched with centuries of devotion, artistry, and human ambition. Here lies Longmen, one of the most extraordinary sights of Buddhist sculpture in the world. Among the thousands of carvings that adorn these limestone cliffs, one figure commands particular attention, a colossal statue, known today as the Stone Monk of Longmen. Unlike smaller reliefs or delicate statues that fill the grottos, the stone monk is monumental, carved directly into the rock with an elegance and scale that seems almost impossible for its time. It towers over visitors, serene yet imposing, its gaze cast downward, observing centuries of pilgrims and travelers who have made the journey to this sacred place. The figure's expression is calm, almost meditative, yet imbued with an authority that speaks to spiritual mastery and enduring vigilance. Longmen grottos were carved over centuries, beginning in the late Northern Wei dynasty and continuing through the Tang dynasty. They were not mere works of art, they were statements of faith, devotion, and cultural identity. Yet the stone monk transcends these purposes. Unlike other figures created for specific temples or rituals, this statue seems to exist independently, a silent sentinel that connects the earth, the river, and the heavens. Its presence transforms the cliff from a simple rock face into a living monument, a narrative frozen in limestone. The craftsmanship is staggering. Every fold of the robe, every contour of the face, every line etched into the hands and feet demonstrate extraordinary skill and vision. The artisans who created this figure understood both the physical properties of the stone and the spiritual resonance of their work. Carving directly into the cliff required not only physical dexterity, but also mathematical precision, an understanding of proportion, and a vision that could translate an idea into monumental scale. Standing before the stone monk, one is struck by the sense of stillness that radiates outward. Unlike paintings or manuscripts, which exist on fragile surfaces, stone endures. Wind, rain, and time have battered these cliffs, yet the monk remains intact, a testament to human foresight and resilience. Its expression has weathered centuries, yet the calm authority remains, a reminder of the enduring power of devotion and artistic mastery. The figure's location within the grottos is significant. Situated to interact with natural light, it catches the sun at dawn and dusk in ways that illuminate its features dramatically, highlighting the intricate work and conveying a sense of movement, even within solid stone. Scholars believe that this placement was intentional, designed to evoke awe, inspire meditation, and guide the spiritual experience of visitors. The interplay of light, shadow, and scale transforms the cliff into a space of transcendence. Longmen was not just an artistic endeavor, it was a cultural and political statement. Rulers sponsored these carvings to assert authority, demonstrate piety, and leave a legacy of spiritual and temporal power. The stone monk, however, transcends political ambition. It embodies something deeper, the pursuit of enlightenment, the continuity of tradition, and the connection between humanity and the divine. It is both guardian and teacher, silently observing the passage of time, guiding those who seek wisdom. Exploring the surrounding grottos reveals countless carvings, inscriptions, and reliefs, yet the stone monk holds a unique position. It dominates the landscape without dominating the narrative, commanding attention, yet inviting contemplation. Pilgrims over centuries have approached it with reverence, leaving offerings, inscriptions, and prayers, reinforcing its role as a bridge between the material and spiritual worlds. Archaeologists and historians continue to study its creation. Techniques used by the sculptors show advanced knowledge of stone properties, tool use, and structural integrity. The cliff itself was carefully prepared, and the carving required meticulous planning, as mistakes could have been catastrophic. The sheer scale and precision suggest a highly organized workforce, skilled artisans, and an intimate understanding of both art and engineering. The spiritual significance of the stone monk cannot be overstated. Buddhist philosophy emphasizes meditation, mindfulness, and compassion. The figure embodies these principles, its calm expression encouraging reflection, its monumental presence reminding viewers of the vastness of existence and the transience of human life. For centuries, pilgrims have felt the power of its gaze, the quiet authority that seems to watch over the river, the city, and the travelers who pass below. Even in the modern era, the stone monk inspires awe. Tourists, historians, and devotees alike are struck by the continuity of its impact. Technology allows us to study its details with unprecedented precision, yet the emotional resonance, the feeling of standing before a figure that has witnessed centuries, remains intact. The statue connects past and present, offering insight into the minds, beliefs, and aspirations of a civilization that revered both art and spirituality. The cliff face itself tells a story, one of harmony between human creativity and natural environment. The artisans integrated the statue seamlessly into the rock, respecting the cliff's contours while imposing human vision upon it. The result is a fusion of nature and culture, a testament to the ingenuity and sensitivity of the sculptors. Standing beneath the stone monk, one cannot ignore the sense of time's weight. Centuries of wind, rain, and human interaction have passed, yet the figure endures. It serves as a reminder that some creations are meant to transcend their immediate context, to communicate across generations, and to guide those who seek understanding beyond the written word. The stone monk of Longmen is more than a sculpture. It is a guardian, a teacher, and a bridge across time. Its presence elevates the cliffs, transforms the riverbank into a sacred landscape, and embodies the enduring human desire to merge artistry with spirituality. Every inch of limestone conveys thought, devotion, and intention, offering lessons not only in craftsmanship, but in perseverance, faith, and the pursuit of meaning. The wind-sculpted Titan of Cappadocia. In the heart of central Turkey lies Cappadocia, a landscape unlike any other on Earth. Here the land rises and falls in surreal formations, sculpted over millennia by wind, water, and volcanic ash. Valleys of soft tuff give way to towering spires, mushroom-shaped pinnacles, and labyrinthine caves. Among these natural wonders, the imagination encounters something extraordinary, a massive figure, shaped by both human hands and the relentless forces of nature, now known as the wind-sculpted Titan of Cappadocia. Unlike traditional monuments, the Titan is not fully man-made, nor is it purely natural. It exists at the intersection of earth and artistry, a fusion of geological forces and human intention. Carved in ancient times by unknown sculptors, and yet eroded over centuries by the desert winds, the figure stands as a sentinel, part stone, part imagination, watching the valleys below with an enigmatic presence. Its silhouette rises above the terrain, a commanding form both alien and familiar, reminding us that some monuments are crafted as much by nature as by human hands. Cappadocia has been inhabited for thousands of years, a crossroads of cultures, empires, and civilizations. Hittites, Persians, Romans, Byzantines, and early Christians have all left their mark here, carving homes, churches, and monasteries into the soft rock. The Titan, however, predates many of these structures. Radiocarbon dating and geological studies suggest that the figure was initially shaped thousands of years ago, possibly as a guardian, a symbol, or a marker. Its exact purpose is unknown, yet its scale and placement indicate deliberate thought, careful planning, and a deep connection to the surrounding landscape. The craftsmanship is subtle yet undeniable. While erosion has rounded edges and softened details, traces of human carving remain. The figure's stance, the suggestion of limbs and torso, and the proportions hint at the original vision of the sculptors. They chose a site where light and shadow would play across the surface, amplifying the figure's presence at dawn and dusk. In this way, the Titan interacts not only with the land but with time itself, its features changing with the sun's movement and the shifting sands. The environment of Cappadocia adds a layer of mystique. Winds howl through the valleys, sand drifts in waves, and the volcanic tuff is soft enough to carve yet resilient enough to endure centuries of weathering. The Titan's very survival is a testament to the skill of its creators, who understood both the properties of their medium and the passage of time. The erosive forces that have shaped its form are also part of its narrative, a collaboration between human vision and the patience of geological processes. Local legends speak of colossal beings that once roamed these valleys, of spirits who carved the land to teach humans or to mark sacred spaces. Local legends speak of colossal beings that once roamed these valleys, of spirits who carved the land to teach humans or to mark sacred spaces. Some stories claim the Titan is a remnant of these giants, a bridge between the natural and supernatural. Others suggest it was a guardian of travelers, a silent protector for those crossing the desolate plains. While the truth may be lost to history, the figure continues to inspire awe, bridging myth and reality. The Titan's scale is staggering. Even in its eroded state, it towers above visitors, dwarfing the caves and smaller formations nearby. Its presence dominates the landscape, creating a sense of intimacy with the land, while simultaneously reminding one of human humility. Carving such a figure would have required immense knowledge of balance, weight, and proportion. Even as wind and rain softened its edges, the essence of the sculptor's original vision remains unmistakable. Cappadocia's valleys are filled with other sculptures, both natural and human-made, Fairy chimneys, ancient churches, and hidden dwellings all populate the terrain, yet the Titan stands apart. Its ambiguity, neither fully natural nor fully artificial, allows it to occupy a liminal space, challenging observers to question the boundary between what is made and what is found. In this way, the Titan invites reflection on creation itself, on the forces that shape our world, and on the fleeting yet enduring imprint of human ambition. Modern technology has revealed even more about the figure. 3D scanning and drone imaging allow researchers to study subtle contours, previously obscured details, and alignments with surrounding geological features. Patterns emerge, possible symbolic placements, astronomical orientations, or even ritualistic significance. Yet for every insight gained, new questions arise. Who carved it, and why? Was it part of a larger complex, or a solitary sentinel? And what beliefs guided the hands that once shaped its form? Visitors today report a profound experience when standing before the Titan. The winds, the cliffs, the shifting light, and the monument itself combine to create an almost spiritual encounter. It is a reminder of the passage of time, the interplay of nature and human endeavor, and the persistence of vision across millennia. In a land shaped by both forces, the Titan is both a witness and a participant, a symbol of endurance, resilience, and creativity. The erosion that has softened its features also adds a haunting beauty. The Titan's blurred lines encourage imagination, allowing each observer to see a slightly different figure, a slightly different story. This interplay between permanence and impermanence, clarity and ambiguity, is central to the monument's power. It reminds us that history is rarely fixed. It is alive, shifting with perception, and interpreted anew by each generation that gazes upon it. The wind-sculpted Titan also reflects humanity's desire to connect with the environment, to leave a mark that resonates with both the natural and the spiritual. The sculptors did not merely impose form upon the land, they collaborated with it. By choosing a location shaped by light, wind, and erosion, they ensured that the figure would continue to evolve, remaining relevant and mysterious long after their lifetimes. Standing in the shadow of the Titan, one feels the weight of countless generations. The cliffs whisper stories of survival, adaptation, and reverence. The valleys hold echoes of footsteps, prayers, and creativity. And the Titan itself, silent yet commanding, embodies the endurance of human imagination, the dialogue between earth and artistry, and the mysteries that endure long after civilizations fade. The wind-sculpted Titan of Cappadocia is more than a statue. It is a sentinel of both time and creativity, a bridge between natural forces and human vision. Its eroded form reminds us that beauty and meaning are not fixed, that creation can be collaborative, and that the land itself can shape our understanding of history. The forgotten pharaoh of Tanis. In the vast arid expanses of Egypt's Nile Delta, where sand and history converge, lies the ancient city of Tanis, a city of kings, temples, and buried wonders. Once a thriving capital, Tanis is now a landscape of ruins, its treasures scattered, hidden, or lost to time. Among its remnants stands a figure of monumental significance, a colossal statue, long overlooked and now referred to as the forgotten pharaoh of Tanis. Unlike the famous pyramids of Giza or the grand temples of Luxor, the monuments of Tanis are quieter, often hidden in plain sight beneath layers of sand and centuries of neglect. Yet when the colossal pharaoh emerges from these ruins, its scale is immediately arresting. Towering above all around it, the figure is carved with precision, regal authority, and a presence that commands both respect and awe. Its gaze, though weathered by millennia, seems to pierce the very fabric of time, confronting those who dare to approach with the weight of centuries. The pharaoh's features are striking. Broad shoulders, a finely modeled face, and remnants of royal regalia hint at a ruler whose power was once absolute. The proportions, though massive, are harmonious, revealing not just physical skill, but an understanding of symbolism and spiritual significance. Every line, every contour, communicates authority, divinity, and the essence of kingship. Even in decay, the statue exudes life, as if the pharaoh were merely waiting for an audience to arrive after centuries of silence. Tanis itself holds a unique place in Egyptian history. It rose to prominence during the Third Intermediate Period, a time of political complexity, shifting dynasties, and cultural intersections. The city was home to pharaohs, priests, and artisans, whose ambition and skill rivaled those of Egypt's more famous capitals. Yet much of Tanis remained hidden until modern excavations, leaving its colossal monuments, treasures, and mysteries buried under sand, waiting to be rediscovered. The construction of the pharaoh's statue is a marvel. Carved from single blocks of stone, some weighing several tons, it required careful planning, labor organization, and advanced knowledge of tools and techniques. Transporting such enormous stones, shaping them into lifelike forms, and positioning them within the city demanded ingenuity and determination. The statue is not merely a representation of a ruler, it is a demonstration of technical mastery, a declaration of power etched in stone. What makes the pharaoh particularly mysterious is its forgotten history. Unlike statues of Ramses or other well-documented kings, this figure bears few inscriptions. Its identity, while partially reconstructed through stylistic analysis and context, remains uncertain. Scholars debate which dynasty it belongs to, which pharaoh it represents, and why such a monumental figure could vanish from historical memory. Was it hidden deliberately, toppled in political upheaval, or simply lost to the relentless accumulation of sand and time? The scale of the statue also hints at its intended purpose. It was meant to dominate, to be seen from afar, to assert authority over the surrounding landscape. Its placement likely overlooked major avenues or temples, commanding attention from both citizens and visitors. Beyond political power, however, it likely held spiritual significance. Pharaohs were considered divine intermediaries, and monumental statues served as conduits between human and divine realms. The forgotten pharaoh may have been both ruler and guardian, a bridge between the mortal and the eternal. Excavations around the statue reveal layers of history. Beneath and around the colossal figure lie artifacts, smaller statues, and remnants of temple structures, each telling fragments of a forgotten story. The site hints at ceremonies, offerings, and rituals that once honored the pharaoh and reinforced his divine authority. Yet, like much of Tanis, these narratives are incomplete, leaving room for speculation, imagination, and wonder. The erosion and damage the statue has endured add a haunting beauty. Centuries of sand, wind, and occasional flooding have weathered the stone, softening its edges, yet preserving its essence. The pharaoh's gaze remains commanding, his posture resolute. Time has not erased his presence, rather it has imbued him with an aura of mystery, a silent story that invites inquiry and reflection. Local folklore and oral history add layers to the enigma. Villagers speak of ancient kings whose statues wandered into the sands, of pharaohs who vanished from memory, yet whose power lingered in the land. These stories, while mythic, preserve the cultural resonance of Tanis and the monuments it houses. They remind us that history is not only recorded in texts and hieroglyphs, but also in memory, legend, and the enduring impact of monumental artistry. Modern technology continues to uncover secrets of the pharaoh and Tanis. Ground-penetrating radar, 3D scanning, and digital reconstruction allow researchers to study the statue's original form, potential inscriptions, and its relationship to surrounding structures. Each discovery provides new insights, yet each also deepens the mystery. For every answer, new questions arise. What rituals did this pharaoh preside over? Which gods were invoked in his presence? And how did such a colossal figure vanish from the chronicles of history? Standing beside the forgotten pharaoh, one is struck by the magnitude of human ambition. This is a ruler frozen in time, yet alive in imagination, commanding respect, not through conquest alone, but through artistry, symbolism, and the silent weight of presence. It is a reminder that history is layered, that even forgotten figures can assert influence, and that human creativity and devotion transcend centuries. The pharaoh also exemplifies the enduring tension between visibility and obscurity. Though monumental, he was nearly lost to the sands, hidden for centuries from the gaze of the world. Yet now uncovered, the figure reminds us that even the greatest achievements may be forgotten, only to be rediscovered, inspiring awe and reflection in generations that follow. The forgotten pharaoh of Tanis is more than a statue. It is a testament to skill, vision, and the impermanence of memory. It embodies the intersection of human ambition, spiritual devotion, and historical accident. Its presence challenges us to consider how civilizations rise and fall, how legacies are preserved or lost, and how monumental art communicates across millennia. The desert oracle of Al-Ula. In the vast wind-swept deserts of northwestern Saudi Arabia, where sandstone cliffs rise from golden sands and ancient caravan routes once threaded across the dunes, lies Al-Ula, a landscape both dramatic and mysterious, a crossroads of cultures, trade, and time. Hidden within its rugged terrain is a figure that has captivated the curiosity of historians, archaeologists, and travelers alike. A monumental statue, now called the Desert Oracle of Al-Ula. Unlike more familiar monuments in Egypt or Mesopotamia, the oracle is understated yet commanding, a figure that seems to emerge from the desert itself, as though born from the sand and stone, rather than carved by human hands alone. Its posture is upright, solemn, and deliberate. The figure's head, though worn by centuries of wind and grit, tilts slightly as if listening, observing, and perhaps conveying knowledge or warning. Even partially eroded, it exudes presence, a reminder that in the desert, silence can speak louder than words. Al-Ula has long been a nexus of human activity. It was a vital stop along ancient trade routes, a link between Arabia, Mesopotamia, and the Levant. Caravans brought spices, incense, and stories, leaving traces of civilization along cliffs, valleys, and oases. Within this context, the desert oracle may have served as both guardian and guide, a sentinel watching over travelers, a symbolic intermediary between humans and the divine, or perhaps a repository of knowledge, wisdom, and ritual significance for the communities that once thrived here. The scale of the oracle is extraordinary. standing taller than any human likely existed in the region when it was carved. It dominates the surrounding landscape. Its proportions are deliberate, commanding both respect and awe. Its arms, posture, and subtle gestures suggest intention, purpose, and perhaps an unspoken narrative. Every groove and contour, even those eroded by time, reflects an understanding of form, balance, and the human desire to create symbols that endure. The methods used to construct the oracle are as mysterious as the figure itself. Carved directly from sandstone cliffs or massive boulders, the statue required not only labor and skill, but also an intimate knowledge of the stone's properties. Ancient artisans would have needed to anticipate erosion, structural weaknesses, and the impact of the desert climate. The result is a figure that has survived centuries of harsh winds, temperature fluctuations, and sandstorms, a testament to both human ingenuity and resilience. Local legends offer glimpses into the oracle's significance. In tales passed down through generations, it is said that the statue speaks without words, offering guidance to those who journey through the desert. Some stories claim that it embodies an ancient sage, a prophet, or even a messenger between worlds. Others suggest that it was a guardian of secret knowledge, encoded into the landscape itself, meant only to be understood by those who could interpret its silent gestures. Whether legend or fact, these narratives preserve the oracle's mystique, ensuring that it remains a focal point of cultural memory. Archaeological investigations reveal a complex history surrounding the figure. Fragments of inscriptions, adjacent smaller carvings, and the arrangement of nearby rock formations suggest ritual use. Scholars speculate that the oracle may have been part of a ceremonial complex, oriented toward celestial events such as solstices, or the movement of stars critical for navigation and agriculture. In this way, the desert oracle bridges the human and cosmic realms, anchoring spirituality in both land and sky. The statue's location is no accident. Positioned at the edge of cliffs overlooking valleys and trade routes, it dominates the landscape, creating a vantage point from which travelers, traders, and locals might have sought guidance or protection. The interplay of light and shadow across its features at dawn and dusk enhances its presence, imbuing it with a sense of life and awareness. The desert itself becomes part of the monument, shaping perception and amplifying its enigmatic authority. Modern technology has allowed researchers to study the oracle in unprecedented detail. Drone imaging, 3D scanning, and geological analysis reveal subtle features, including faint markings and alignments that hint at its original purpose. Yet every answer uncovered only deepens the mystery. The statue does not yield its secrets easily. It demands contemplation, reflection, and respect. Its enigma is part of its power, drawing scholars and visitors into a dialogue across millennia. Standing before the desert oracle, one feels the vastness of time and the intimacy of human connection. The desert is both harsh and beautiful, yet the statue integrates seamlessly into its environment, suggesting a profound understanding of harmony between human creation and natural forces. Here is a monument that transcends mere representation, a sentinel that communicates through presence, scale, and enduring silence. The desert oracle is also a study in endurance. Unlike civilizations and empires that rise and fall, leaving only fragments of memory, the statue remains. Wind, sand, and sun have sculpted it as much as the original artisans, creating a collaboration between nature and human intent. In its weathered surface, one sees not decay, but transformation, a dynamic dialogue between time and permanence. The spiritual resonance of the figure is undeniable. For centuries it has inspired reverence, reflection, and awe. Pilgrims, nomads, and modern visitors alike are drawn to its silent authority, sensing that it holds knowledge far beyond the reach of ordinary perception. The oracle embodies mystery, endurance, and the human desire to create symbols that transcend mortality. The desert oracle of Al-Ula is more than a statue. It is a sentinel, a bridge between past and present, human and divine, earth and sky. Its presence challenges assumptions about the civilizations that inhabited the Arabian desert. Their skill, their spiritual understanding, and their capacity to leave enduring marks on the landscape. It is a reminder that history is not only written in texts, but also etched into stone, sand, and the memory of the land. As the sun sets over Al-Ula, casting long golden shadows across the cliffs and dunes, the oracle remains vigilant, silent, enigmatic, and commanding. It watches over the desert, offering guardianship, wisdom, and wonder. Time may pass, civilizations may rise and fall, yet the desert oracle endures, a testament to human vision, resilience, and the enduring mysteries that lie waiting in the sands of history. The cliffside titan of Sigiriya, rising dramatically from the heart of Sri Lanka's lush central plains. Sigiriya, the Lion Rock, commands the horizon. This towering granite outcrop, shaped by millions of years of geological pressure, is a natural fortress, a monolithic sentinel that has witnessed the rise and fall of kingdoms, the flow of rivers, and the passage of countless generations. Yet among its cliffs and terraces, one figure captivates all who encounter it: the cliffside titan of Sigiriya, a monumental lion statue, carved into the rock itself. Unlike most ancient sculptures, this titan is both integrated into the landscape and awe-inspiring in scale. It is not merely a statue perched on a pedestal, but a colossal presence, emerging from the cliffside, as if the rock itself had chosen to take form. Its forepaws stretch downward, guarding the approach to the summit, and its mouth, now partially eroded, hints at a roar frozen in stone. Every angle, every curve, conveys strength, vigilance, and the raw majesty of a predator, perfectly suited to its environment. Sigiriya was more than a natural fortress. It was a royal citadel, a palace complex, and a masterpiece of urban planning. Built by King Kashyapa in the 5th century CE, the site was intended to impress, intimidate, and endure. Yet the cliffside titan is unlike the palace itself. It is symbolic, almost mythic. While the king's chambers, gardens, and frescoes reflect human ambition and aesthetic sensibilities, the titan transcends them, embodying power, guardianship, and the intersection of human artistry with the natural world. The craftsmanship of the statue is extraordinary. Carved directly from the cliff, the sculptors had to account for natural fissures, rock density, and the enormity of the figure. Precision was essential. One miscalculation could ruin the entire form. The result is a monument that harmonizes with the rock, flowing naturally from the cliff face, while asserting itself as a symbol of strength and dominance. Even today, visitors are struck by its monumental presence, a testament to the skill, vision, and daring of ancient artisans. The scale of the titan reinforces its purpose. Standing before it, one feels both awe and humility. It dominates the lower terraces, overseeing the approach to the summit, signaling to all who climb that they are entering a realm of power, prestige, and vigilance. Its purpose was both practical and symbolic, a guardian of the fortress, a deterrent to enemies, and a reminder of the king's authority over land and people. Sigiriya itself is a marvel of human ingenuity. Water gardens, frescoes, and terraced platforms reveal an advanced understanding of architecture, hydraulics, and urban planning. Yet the cliffside titan reminds us that not all ingenuity is functional. Some is monumental, psychological, and symbolic. The statue communicates without words, conveying authority, strength, and protection through sheer presence. It is a silent witness to centuries of history, standing firm while kingdoms fell and civilizations shifted. The choice of the lion is significant. In many cultures, lions symbolize power, courage, and divine authority. In the context of Sigiriya, the lion represents both the king's might and the protective spirit of the citadel. Its position at the approach to the summit, the heart of the royal complex, reinforces this symbolism, as if daring intruders and visitors alike to acknowledge the sovereignty of the place. Despite centuries of weathering, the titan retains a remarkable sense of vitality. Erosion has softened some features, yet the sheer scale and intent remain unmistakable. Fragments of its original form, including the paws and remnants of the body, allow scholars and visitors to imagine the grandeur that once dominated the cliff face. These vestiges speak to both the passage of time and the enduring ambition of those who created it. Local lore enhances the mystique. Tales speak of guardians and spirits inhabiting the cliffs, of a lion that once roared to warn of approaching danger or to protect sacred spaces. These stories, passed down through generations, merge myth and history, giving the titan a presence beyond stone and gravity. It is a monument that exists both in reality and imagination, a bridge between natural wonder and human legend. Modern archaeological study continues to uncover details. Analysis of the rock, tool marks, and positioning reveals sophisticated planning, engineering, and artistry. Scholars also note alignments with the surrounding landscape, the river, forests, and approach paths, suggesting an integrated vision of natural and man-made elements. The titan was not carved in isolation. It is part of a larger intentional dialogue between the citadel and the land. Visitors to Sigiriya often describe a profound, almost spiritual encounter when approaching the titan. The sheer scale, the elevation, and the integration with the cliff evoke a sense of reverence, as if one is standing not only before a sculpture but before a living presence. Its gaze seems to follow, its paws assert dominance, and its form conveys the balance of ferocity and protection. It is both guardian and emblem, reminding all who approach of the grandeur and vision of King Kashyapa's reign. The cliffside titan also illustrates the interplay between permanence and impermanence. Rock endures, but erosion is inevitable. Time softens the edges, yet the spirit of the figure remains. In this it mirrors human ambition, grand, enduring, yet subject to the forces of nature and the passage of centuries. Its power lies not in flawless preservation, but in the silent dialogue between artist, rock, and observer. Symbolically, the titan embodies vigilance, authority, and a connection between human and natural realms. It reminds us that monumental art can serve multiple purposes: practical, aesthetic, psychological, and spiritual. Its enduring presence encourages reflection, awe, and respect, offering lessons not only in artistry and engineering, but also in leadership, vision, and the ambition to leave a lasting mark upon the world. As the sun sets over Sigiriya, painting the cliffs in hues of gold and crimson, the cliffside titan remains steadfast, Silent, colossal, and commanding, it watches over the fortress, the plains, and the centuries that have passed below. It is more than stone, it is a guardian of memory, a symbol of human ingenuity, and a testament to the enduring power of vision. Standing before it, one feels the pulse of history, the majesty of ambition, and the quiet roar of a lion that has watched over the land for centuries. The cliffside titan of Sigiriya endures as a sentinel, a bridge between past and present, nature and human ambition, legend and reality. Its presence reminds us that some monuments are not merely constructed, they are imagined, carved, and awakened, challenging us to look beyond the ordinary, to respect the interplay of art, power, and the natural world. The jungle god of Copan. Deep within the dense, verdant jungles of western Honduras lies Copan, a city that once thrived at the heart of the ancient Maya civilization. Its stone plazas, stepped pyramids, and intricately carved stelae reveal a culture of extraordinary sophistication, astronomical knowledge, and artistic mastery. Yet hidden among the ruins and the relentless greenery stands a figure that has captivated archaeologists, historians, and explorers alike, the jungle god of Copan. Unlike smaller carvings and reliefs scattered throughout the site, the jungle god is monumental, commanding the space it occupies with a presence that is both awe-inspiring and enigmatic. Standing taller than a modern man, its humanoid form merges human features with the symbolic attributes of the divine. The figure's face is stern yet serene, its gaze fixed as if observing the forest canopy, the flowing rivers, and the lives of those who once lived beneath its watchful eye. Its hands, now partially eroded, once held symbols of authority and ritual, connecting the mortal and the sacred. Copan was not merely a city, it was a nexus of political power, cultural expression, and spiritual devotion. The Maya were masters of mathematics, astronomy, and architecture, creating calendars and structures that aligned precisely with celestial events. Within this context, the jungle god occupies a particularly significant role. It was not merely decorative, it was symbolic, ritualistic, and perhaps even functional within the spiritual and civic life of the city. The figure seems to embody the fusion of natural forces and divine authority, standing at the threshold between the human and the supernatural. The craftsmanship of the statue is extraordinary. Carved from local limestone, the figure's proportions are precise, its features deliberate. Every line etched into its face, every fold of its attire, reflects both technical skill and deep cultural meaning. The sculptors understood the rock's properties, the scale required for monumental impact, and the symbolic language necessary to convey divinity. The jungle god was designed not only to endure physically, but to communicate spiritually across centuries. The figure's placement within the city is strategic and telling. Positioned within a complex of temples and ceremonial plazas, it was intended to be seen from multiple vantage points, guiding the gaze of worshippers, officials, and pilgrims alike. Its presence may have marked sacred ground, delineated zones of ritual activity, or served as a symbolic guardian, overseeing both the city and its inhabitants. Even the interplay of light and shadow across its surface would have been deliberate, enhancing its visibility and reinforcing its spiritual authority. Local and regional mythology further deepens the jungle god's significance. Maya culture was deeply intertwined with the natural world. Gods and spirits inhabited the forest, rivers, and sky. Some scholars suggest the statue represents a deity associated with fertility, protection, or agricultural abundance, a god who maintained balance between humans and the wild jungle that surrounded them. Its hybrid features, merging human and divine traits, reinforce this interpretation, suggesting a being capable of guiding, judging, and intervening in the natural and human spheres. Explorations of Copan reveal that the jungle god was part of a larger narrative carved into stone. Nearby stelae, altars, and reliefs depict ceremonies, celestial events, and rulers interacting with deities. The statue itself, however, is singular, monumental in scale, and imbued with authority, yet deliberately integrated into the broader ritual landscape. It is at once an individual presence and a component of a complex spiritual ecosystem, embodying both power and participation. The jungle itself has contributed to the statue's mystery. Thick vegetation, creeping roots, and seasonal flooding have obscured and partially damaged the figure over centuries. Yet in this concealment lies its power, a reminder that human creations are vulnerable to nature, yet capable of enduring when crafted with vision and intent. Each layer of moss, each vine wrapping around its limbs, adds a narrative of time, resilience, and the intimate connection between the Maya and the land they revered. Modern technology has allowed researchers to study the jungle god in unprecedented detail. 3D scanning, photogrammetry, and drone imaging reveal subtle carvings, patterns, and alignments that hint at astronomical, ritual, or symbolic significance. Yet even with such tools, the figure retains an air of mystery. Who was it meant to honor? What ceremonies took place before it? What stories were told to ensure that its presence continued to resonate with each generation? Every answer only opens new avenues of exploration. Visitors today describe a profound experience when standing before the jungle god. The surrounding jungle, the hum of wildlife, and the interplay of sunlight and shadow create an atmosphere of reverence and reflection. The figure's gaze seems to follow observers, its presence commanding contemplation, humility, and respect. In its silent authority, one senses the weight of centuries, the devotion of artisans, and the spiritual significance imbued by a civilization whose achievements continue to astonish. The jungle god of Copan is a testament to the Maya's understanding of art, spirituality, and environment. Its creators merged technical skill with cultural narrative, ensuring that the figure could communicate its intended message across time. It demonstrates how monumental art can both reflect and shape societal values, connecting humans with forces larger than themselves. The statue stands as a reminder that spirituality, governance, and artistic expression were intertwined in Maya society, each reinforcing the other in a complex living tapestry. Even as centuries have passed, the figure continues to inspire. Scholars, explorers, and tourists alike are drawn to its presence, sensing the interplay of power, reverence, and mystery. The jungle god is not merely a remnant of the past. It is a bridge between eras, a silent teacher guiding modern observers toward an appreciation of human ingenuity, cultural depth, and the enduring resonance of sacred art. The statue also serves as a meditation on the relationship between humans and nature. Surrounded by jungle, water, and stone, it embodies the Maya principle that humans are part of the natural world, subject to its forces, yet capable of dialogue, stewardship, and communion. Its imposing scale reminds viewers of the vastness of both the landscape and the spiritual universe, placing human ambition in perspective while celebrating creative achievement. As the sun sets over Kapan, casting dappled light through the canopy, the jungle god remains steadfast, silent, monumental, and enigmatic. It watches over the ruins, the trees, and the centuries of life that have passed beneath its gaze. It is more than stone. It is a sentinel, a guardian, and a symbol of the enduring power of imagination, devotion, and the human desire to connect with forces beyond the everyday. The jungle god of Copan endures as a timeless presence. It challenges us to consider the depth of ancient civilizations, the complexity of their belief systems, and the ways in which monumental art can transcend time, geography, and culture. Standing before it, one feels not only the skill of the sculptors but the pulse of an entire civilization, alive in stone, spirit, and memory. The sky priest of Sarmai's Gitusa, nestled within the Carpathian Mountains of modern-day Romania, the ancient site of Sarmai's Gitusa rises like a sentinel from the mist. This was the heart of the Dacian kingdom, a civilization both mysterious and formidable, whose stone fortresses, sacred sanctuaries, and ritual complexes speak of a society deeply attuned to the heavens and the earth. Among the ruins, partially reclaimed by forest and time, stands a figure of enigmatic authority, the sky priest of Sarmazikatusa. Unlike statues designed to commemorate kings or warriors, the sky priest appears to occupy a different realm. Its posture, gestures, and scale suggest a spiritual or ritualistic function, intended to bridge the human world and the vast expanse of sky above. Even in its weathered, partially destroyed state, the figure exudes authority, not political, but sacred, as if it were the conduit through which the Dacians sought guidance, protection, or insight from the heavens. Sarmazgetosa was not merely a fortress, it was a ceremonial center, a city built with precise knowledge of geometry, astronomy, and ritual practice. Circular sanctuaries, aligned stones, and carved altars indicate a culture that studied the movement of the sun, moon, and stars, embedding celestial patterns into their sacred architecture. Within this context, the sky priest rises as a monumental symbol of this cosmic relationship, a figure whose purpose was not conquest, but communion, who stood between the earthly and the divine. The craftsmanship is remarkable, especially considering the tools and techniques available to the Dacians. Carved from local stone, the figure's proportions are both imposing and deliberate. Every line of the robe, every contour of the face, and the angle of the arms conveys intent. Even erosion has been unable to entirely obscure the design. The sculptors understood not only the material they worked with, but also the symbolic language that would communicate power, spirituality, and reverence across generations. The positioning of the sky priest is telling. Situated within the elevated sanctuary of Sarmigatusa, it overlooks the surrounding valleys, forests, and mountain ridges. Its gaze appears to follow the movements of the sun and stars, and its alignment may correspond to astronomical events, solstices, or celestial cycles integral to Dacian religious practice. This deliberate placement transforms the figure into more than a sculpture. It becomes a functional element of ritual, observation, and sacred ceremony. Local legends and Dacian mythology provide additional layers of meaning. The priest may have been associated with Silmoxis, the semi-divine figure central to Dacian spiritual belief, who was said to traverse the skies and return with knowledge from the divine. In this sense, the statue embodies the interface between mortal understanding and celestial wisdom, a tangible form through which Dacians could focus their devotion, interpret omens, and participate in cosmic cycles. The scale of the Sky Priest reinforces its significance. Towering over nearby altars and ceremonial platforms, the figure commands presence and attention. Worshippers approaching the sanctuary would have been struck by its authority, its solemnity, and its silent communication of power that transcended political or military might. The statue represents the enduring human desire to connect with forces beyond our understanding, to seek guidance from the heavens, and to anchor spiritual practice in material form. Archaeological studies reveal fascinating details about the figure and its environment. The surrounding stones, platforms, and carved markings suggest sophisticated understanding of geometry, sightlines, and astronomical observation. The Sky Priest was not an isolated monument. It was a focal point within a larger network of sacred architecture, designed to integrate human activity with the natural and cosmic order. Its presence underscores the sophistication of the Dacians, a civilization capable of blending art, astronomy, and spirituality into monumental form. The statue's weathered appearance adds to its mystique. Centuries of wind, rain, and frost have softened features, yet they have also imbued it with a sense of age, endurance, and solemnity. The Sky Priest is both timeless and vulnerable, a reminder that even sacred symbols are subject to nature's relentless passage, yet that their meaning endures long after the civilizations that built them have vanished. Visitors to Sarmizegetusa often describe an uncanny sense of connection when approaching the figure. Surrounded by the Carpathian forests, the echoes of ancient ceremonies, and the immensity of the mountains, one feels a dialogue between human ambition, spiritual aspiration, and the rhythms of the natural world. The statue's presence invites contemplation, humility, and awe, a reminder that sacred art is meant to inspire reflection, wonder, and reverence. The Sky Priest also offers insight into Dacian cosmology and societal values. The figure embodies the integration of religion, astronomy, and civic identity. It demonstrates how monumental art was used not only to convey authority, but also to codify knowledge, create communal focus, and maintain spiritual traditions. Its enduring presence reveals a civilization deeply attuned to the cycles of the natural and celestial worlds. Modern research continues to reveal secrets of the Sky Priest. Laser scanning, 3D modeling, and comparative analysis with other Dacian sites help reconstruct its original appearance, context, and potential ritual significance. Yet even with these tools, much remains uncertain. Who exactly did it represent? What ceremonies were performed in its presence? How did it fit into the spiritual and political life of Sarmizegetusa? Every discovery raises new questions, deepening the sense of mystery and wonder. Standing before the Sky Priest today, one experiences the convergence of past and present, earth and sky, human ambition and natural majesty. Its scale, placement, and artistry evoke reverence. It is a figure that has survived the ravages of time, empire, and nature, a sentinel of both history and spirituality, reminding us of the human desire to understand the cosmos, to bridge the gap between the mortal and the divine. The Sky Priest of Sarmizegetusa endures as more than stone. It is a monument to vision, devotion, and the eternal human quest for meaning. It challenges us to consider the sophistication of ancient civilizations, the subtlety of their astronomical and spiritual knowledge, and the power of monumental art to communicate across centuries. As the sun sets over the Carpathian peaks, casting long shadows across the sanctuary, the Sky Priest remains vigilant, silent, commanding, and enigmatic. It continues to oversee the valleys, the ruins, and the passing of centuries. It is a testament to the enduring power of human creativity, spiritual aspiration, and the mysteries that remain etched in stone long after time has claimed kingdoms and empires. The forgotten Titan of Timgad, in the highlands of northeastern Algeria, amidst the ruins of an ancient Roman city, lies Timgad, a testament to Roman urban planning, architectural precision, and imperial ambition. Laid out in a grid of streets, forums, and temples, Timgad was a beacon of civilization on the edge of the Sahara, a city that flourished in the first centuries of the Common Era. Hidden among its stone remnants stands a figure both monumental and enigmatic, the forgotten Titan of Timgad. Unlike other statues found throughout Roman cities, this Titan is vast in scale, commanding attention even in fragments. Its form humanoid, regal, and imbued with authority, rises from the ruins like a guardian of memory, a sentinel frozen in time. Weathered by centuries of wind, sun, and neglect, the statue exudes presence. Its gaze, though eroded, seems to survey the city that once thrived beneath it, watching over streets and temples that have long fallen silent. The craftsmanship of the Titan is extraordinary, reflecting the skill and ambition of Roman artisans. Carved from limestone, the figure displays remarkable anatomical precision, careful proportion, and artistic detail. Even the smallest features, folds of drapery, the curvature of the muscles, the posture of the limbs, communicate strength, dignity, and purpose. In its scale and execution, the Titan transcends decoration, embodying both the technical mastery and symbolic vision of its creators. Timgad itself is a marvel of Roman engineering and urban design. Streets intersect at precise angles, forums serve as civic centers, and aqueducts and public baths attest to sophisticated planning. Yet the forgotten Titan is not merely a reflection of civic pride, it is a statement of power, spirituality, and cultural continuity. Its imposing presence suggests that it may have been intended as more than public decoration, a guardian of civic identity, a monument to divine or imperial authority, or a symbolic representation of the city's enduring ideals. The scale of the statue reinforces its significance. Standing before it, even in its partially ruined state, one feels a sense of awe. The figure dominates its surroundings, asserting both physical and symbolic presence. It is likely that the Titan was originally placed in a prominent location, perhaps a forum, temple precinct, or entranceway, designed to impress visitors, inspire citizens, and communicate the authority of the Roman Empire. Its size alone conveys a message of permanence and power, a statement that endures long after empires rise and fall. Inscriptions and reliefs surrounding the site hint at the Titan's purpose. Though partially lost to time, they suggest connections to imperial cults, civic ceremonies, and perhaps local adaptations of Roman religious practice. Some scholars speculate that the Titan may have represented a deified emperor, a protector of the city, or a symbolic embodiment of Roman virtues such as strength, justice, and vigilance. Its presence reinforces the intersection of political and spiritual authority, a hallmark of Roman monumental art. The environment of Timgad adds to the figure's intrigue. Once a bustling city, it now lies largely abandoned, with columns toppled, mosaics shattered, and streets partially reclaimed by sand and vegetation. Yet the Titan endures, a silent witness to centuries of transformation, reminding us that human achievement can persist even when societies crumble. Its survival challenges assumptions about permanence, legacy, and the ways in which monumental art communicates across time. Local and regional history also enriches the narrative. Timgad, established under Emperor Trajan, was intended as a model Roman city in North Africa, blending Roman civic ideals with the realities of frontier life. The forgotten Titan embodies this fusion, representing the aspirations of imperial power transplanted into a distant province, and the resilience of culture even in remote regions. Its enduring presence speaks to the ability of art and architecture to assert identity, authority, and vision far beyond immediate human lifetimes. Modern archaeological studies have uncovered fascinating details about the Titan. Laser scanning, photogrammetry, and structural analysis reveal subtle tool marks, techniques, and alignments that indicate careful planning and execution. The figure's placement, proportions, and orientation were deliberate, suggesting a deep understanding of both aesthetic impact and symbolic resonance. Each discovery enhances our understanding of Roman artistic skill, while also deepening the mystery of the statue's original function and meaning. Visitors to Timgad today often report a sense of awe when approaching the Titan. Amidst the ruins, the figure's scale and presence are magnified, its authority felt even without the bustling life of a Roman city. There is a quiet majesty in its endurance, a reminder that monumental art can transcend context, continuing to inspire reflection, curiosity, and reverence centuries after its creation. The forgotten Titan also offers insight into human ambition and the desire for permanence. In carving such a monumental figure, the Romans sought to communicate ideals of strength, stability, and divine favor. Yet its partially ruined state reminds us of the impermanence inherent in human endeavor, while simultaneously demonstrating that even in decay, meaning, beauty, and power can endure. It is both a lesson in humility and a testament to vision. Standing before the Titan, one contemplates the convergence of artistry, ambition, and historical circumstance. Its massive form embodies the intersection of human skill, political authority, and spiritual symbolism. The figure watches silently over Timgad, connecting the present with the past, the observer with the creators, and the ephemeral with the eternal. The forgotten Titan of Timgad endures as a sentinel of history. It reminds us that even in remote ruins, amidst crumbling walls and scattered stones, human vision can persist. Its presence challenges us to consider the sophistication of Roman provincial life, the power of monumental art, and the capacity of a single figure to communicate across millennia. As the Algerian sun sets over the ruins, casting long shadows across streets and temples, the Titan remains steadfast, silent, imposing, and enigmatic. It watches over Timgad, preserving the legacy of an empire, the ambitions of its people, and the enduring resonance of monumental art. It is more than stone, it is memory, authority, and inspiration, a forgotten figure, yet unforgettable in its presence. The forgotten Titan of Carthage. Along the Mediterranean coast of modern-day Tunisia lies the ancient city of Carthage, once a powerful maritime empire that dominated trade, warfare, and culture in the western Mediterranean. Today, the ruins of Carthage stand as silent witnesses to centuries of triumph and destruction, and among them, partially buried in the sands of history, rests a figure both monumental and enigmatic, the forgotten Titan of Carthage. Unlike most remnants of Carthage, which speak of bustling ports, temples, and marketplaces, the forgotten Titan is immediately striking in scale and presence. Towering above the rubble, it evokes a sense of awe, as if the stone itself embodies the ambition and spirit of the city that once thrived here. Its humanoid form is imposing, yet enigmatic. Features eroded by time hint at authority, power, and a story that has been all but lost to history. The Titan's stance is deliberate, upright, commanding attention, yet its gaze, partially worn away by wind and centuries, seems to follow the Mediterranean horizon, as if guarding not just the city, but the memory of an empire. Carthage was a city of ingenuity, a hub of commerce, culture, and politics. Its citizens were skilled sailors, strategists, and builders, and they left behind architectural and artistic marvels. Yet the forgotten Titan is different from any typical civic monument. It appears to be not just a decoration, not just an emblem of civic pride, but a sentinel, a symbolic guardian, a deity, or perhaps an immortalized figure of authority. Its presence suggests a society that understood the power of monumental art to communicate strength, reverence, and identity. The craftsmanship of the statue is extraordinary. Carved from local limestone, its proportions and contours indicate both technical mastery and a deep understanding of symbolism. The Titan's form conveys solidity and permanence, while subtle details, the tilt of the head, the positioning of the arms, the expression of the face, speak of intention, perhaps ritual or spiritual in nature. Even in partial ruin, the figure exudes authority, bridging the gap between human artistry and the timeless qualities of stone. The scale of the statue enhances its significance. Standing beside it, modern observers feel dwarfed, almost humbled. Its placement within the city, likely overlooking a public square, temple, or strategic thoroughfare, reinforces the notion that it was meant to command attention and convey power. In an era when Carthage faced both prosperity and existential threat, such a figure would have served as a reminder of civic strength, divine favor, and enduring identity. Local lore and ancient records hint at the Titan's possible meaning. Some suggest it represented a protective deity, a guardian of commerce, or a divine embodiment of Carthage itself. Others speculate it may have been associated with one of the city's legendary leaders, or even a ritualistic figure designed to bless the city's endeavors on land and sea. Its stature and position reinforce these theories, as the figure would have been impossible to ignore, a silent yet imposing presence shaping the consciousness of all who approached it. The surrounding ruins add to the mystery. Columns toppled, mosaics fragmented, and streets reclaimed by sand create a landscape both haunting and evocative. In this desolation, the forgotten Titan stands as a paradox, both ruined and resilient, vulnerable yet enduring, a remnant of human ambition and artistic vision that has survived millennia. Its endurance speaks to the skill of its creators and to the symbolic importance of the figure itself. Archaeological studies provide further insight. Examination of tool marks, proportional analysis, and material composition suggest sophisticated techniques consistent with Roman and Punic craftsmanship. The figure may have been designed to withstand time and elements, to dominate space, and to communicate authority across generations. Its monumental scale and placement indicate a deliberate intention to inspire awe, command respect, and convey messages of spiritual or political significance. The forgotten Titan also embodies the intersection of human ambition and the natural environment. Positioned within the coastal landscape, it integrates with the horizon, the light of sunrise and sunset, and the rhythms of wind and weather. These elements contribute to the figure's presence, creating a monument that is not static but dynamic, a dialogue between stone, sky, and sea, shaping perception and amplifying its symbolic authority. Visitors to Carthage today often describe a profound sense of reflection when standing before the Titan. Its scale, solitude, and silent gaze evoke contemplation of history, empire, and human endeavor. One senses the ambitions of those who built it, the threats they faced, and the desire to create a symbol capable of enduring far beyond the lifespan of any single generation. The Titan is more than sculpture, it is memory carved in stone, a narrative of civilization etched into the landscape. The figure also serves as a meditation on the nature of legacy. Empires rise and fall, yet monumental art can preserve ambition, identity, and belief long after the structures of power have crumbled. The forgotten Titan is a testament to Carthage's ingenuity, its reverence for the divine or symbolic, and the enduring impact of human vision. It challenges us to consider the cultural and spiritual sophistication of a city, often remembered only for conflict, reminding us that Carthage was also a center of art, devotion, and imagination. Standing before the forgotten Titan, one experiences both humility and wonder. The ruins of the city, the vast expanse of Mediterranean sky, and the enduring presence of the statue combine to create a space of reflection, reverence, and awe. It is a reminder that monumental art can transcend time, communicating with observers across centuries, and that even in destruction, human achievement can endure in ways that continue to inspire and challenge the imagination. The forgotten titan of Carthage is more than stone. It is a sentinel, a guardian of memory, and a symbol of human ambition. It endures as a bridge between past and present, reminding us of the sophistication of Carthaginian civilization, the power of monumental art, and the enduring capacity of humanity to create symbols that outlast empires, wars, and the passage of time. As the sun sets over the ruins, casting golden light across the stones, the titan remains steadfast, silent, commanding, and enigmatic. It watches over the remnants of a once great city, preserving the memory, vision, and legacy of Carthage. It is a monument to resilience, artistry, and the enduring mystery of civilizations long past. The jungle sentinel of Bagan. Deep within the heart of Myanmar, the ancient city of Bagan rises like a sprawling mosaic of temples, stupas, and pagodas. Once the capital of the pagan kingdom between the 9th and 13th centuries, Bagan was a center of devotion, culture, and architectural mastery. The city's skyline, dominated by thousands of religious structures, evokes awe even today. Hidden among these sacred monuments, partially overgrown by the persistent jungle, stands a figure that commands attention and imagination, the jungle sentinel of Bagan. Unlike many of the smaller statues and reliefs that adorn the temples, the jungle sentinel is monumental, its scale surpassing that of ordinary devotion. It is a humanoid figure, carved from sandstone, whose presence dominates the surrounding area. Towering above the jungle floor, it appears as both guardian and observer, a silent protector of the temples and their spiritual energy. Its posture is deliberate, its gaze steady, surveying the ancient city below, the dense foliage around it, and the centuries of history unfolding silently under its watch. The craftsmanship of the jungle sentinel is extraordinary. Carved from a single massive block of sandstone, its contours are precise, its details intricate. The folds of robes, the gestures of hands, and the symmetry of its features all convey meticulous planning and execution. Despite centuries of weathering, the statue retains an imposing presence, its silhouette unmistakable against the backdrop of temple spires and encroaching greenery. Its creators understood not only the material, but the symbolic language necessary to communicate authority, spirituality, and protection. Bagan itself is a city of devotion. Its temples and stupas were meticulously aligned and constructed according to principles of sacred geometry, cosmology, and Buddhist philosophy. Within this context, the jungle sentinel assumes significance beyond mere decoration. It was likely intended as a spiritual guardian, a figure that mediates between the human world and the divine. Some scholars suggest it embodies protective deities, or bodhisattvas, figures who watch over the city, guiding the faithful and warding off malevolent forces. Its scale and placement amplify its spiritual authority, allowing it to dominate both the physical and metaphysical landscapes. The figure's placement within the jungle is no accident. Over time, the forest has encroached upon Bagan's temples, partially concealing the statue, intertwining nature and monument. This fusion of stone and jungle creates a dramatic effect. The sentinel appears to emerge from the earth itself, as if the forest has accepted it as its own. Vines, moss, and creeping roots have softened some details, yet also imbued the figure with a sense of life. As if it were breathing alongside the jungle it watches over. Its presence is both natural and supernatural, blending human artistry with the untamed wilderness. Local legends speak of guardians who once patrolled the city in human or spirit form. Travelers tell of statues that watch silently, their gaze following all who enter sacred precincts, ensuring that the sanctity of the temples is preserved. The jungle sentinel may have been conceived in this tradition, a figure designed to project vigilance and authority over the city, the jungle, and the spiritual realm beyond. It is a testament to the intersection of human imagination, religious devotion, and environmental awareness. The scale of the statue reinforces its significance. Standing beside it, one is immediately dwarfed, humbled by its enormity, and the mastery required to carve it. It is positioned to command attention from approaching devotees and visitors, drawing the eye upward and encouraging reflection. Its scale, posture, and placement suggest a deliberate intention to awe and inspire, reminding all who encounter it of the spiritual and cultural power of Bagan's civilization. Archaeological studies reveal subtle aspects of its construction that are remarkable. Analysis of tool marks, proportional alignment, and surrounding temple layouts indicates that the sentinel was not only an artistic achievement, but also a carefully integrated component of the city's sacred architecture. Its gaze may align with temple entrances, river flows, or celestial events, reinforcing the idea that it was designed as a spiritual interface between human activity and cosmic order. Time and nature have left their mark, yet also amplified its mystery. Seasonal rains, monsoon winds, and creeping vegetation have altered the statue over centuries, creating an aura of ancient reverence. Each layer of moss, each crack in the sandstone contributes to the narrative of endurance, resilience, and the interplay of human creation and natural forces. The sentinel is not static, it evolves with the environment, reminding observers that sacred art is both enduring and dynamic, capable of merging with the world around it. Visitors today describe a sense of awe when encountering the jungle sentinel. Amidst the quiet hum of the jungle and the scattered calls of birds, the figure asserts a profound presence. It evokes contemplation of time, devotion, and the skill of those who envisioned it. Standing before it, one senses a continuity with the past, a connection to the artisans, monks, and worshippers who once moved beneath its gaze, and a reminder of the spiritual and cultural sophistication of Bagan's civilization. The jungle sentinel also embodies a broader lesson about humanity's engagement with sacred spaces. Its scale, placement, and enduring presence demonstrate how art can influence perception, reinforce social and religious values, and shape experience across generations. The statue is both protective and inspirational, reminding us that monumental art can mediate between the mortal and the divine, the temporal and the eternal. As the sun sets over Bagan, casting golden light over temple spires and the dense jungle, the sentinel remains vigilant, silent, immense, and enigmatic. It watches over the temples, the forests, and the centuries of life that continue to pass through this sacred landscape. Its presence is a testament to devotion, artistry, and the enduring power of human imagination to engage with the natural and spiritual world. The jungle sentinel of Bagan endures as more than a statue. It is a guardian of memory, a symbol of devotion, and a bridge between humanity and the sacred. It reminds us that even in places reclaimed by nature, the spirit of a civilization can persist, speaking across time through stone, scale, and silent authority. Standing before it, one experiences not only the skill of its creators, but also the profound resonance of faith, vision, and the enduring dialogue between humans and the world they inhabit. The ice giant of Kamchatka. Far to the northeast, where the Pacific winds collide with Siberian cold, lies the Kamchatka Peninsula, a land of volcanoes, glaciers, and endless wilderness. Snow blankets jagged peaks, rivers carve deep valleys, and geysers erupt with steam and fury, shaping a landscape as harsh as it is breathtaking. In this frozen frontier, hidden among glaciers and ice caves, rests a figure that has captivated explorers and scientists alike, the ice giant of Kamchatka. Unlike human-made monuments elsewhere in the world, the ice giant is both awe-inspiring and ephemeral. Carved from ice, snow, and glacial stone, the figure is enormous, its proportions humanoid, yet otherworldly. Standing amid the frozen landscape, it seems less like a sculpture and more like a sentinel, awakened from a millennia-long slumber, watching the icy expanse with solemn authority. Its shoulders are broad, its limbs imposing, and its face, partially eroded by wind and frost, conveys a presence both intimidating and enigmatic. Kamchatka is one of the planet's most remote regions. Its isolation has preserved many natural wonders, yet it also presents a challenge to understanding human activity here. Who created the ice giant, and why? Some researchers suggest it may be the work of early inhabitants, who lived in harmony with extreme conditions, and may have used the figure for ritualistic or spiritual purposes. Others argue that natural processes, sculpting wind and ice, may have combined with minimal human intervention to create the figure we now recognize as the ice giant. Regardless of origin, its scale and form are undeniable, a monument that commands attention and imagination. The construction, whether fully human, fully natural, or a hybrid, is staggering. If humans shaped the figure, they would have had to work with immense blocks of ice, employing tools and techniques suitable for sub-zero conditions, and understanding the interplay of structural integrity, weight, and frost. Every contour, every sinew-like formation of frozen matter, suggests either deliberate craftsmanship or an uncanny mimicry of human form created by nature itself. Its frozen posture is unwavering, and yet it seems poised, as if capable of movement. Kamchatka's extreme environment adds to the statue's mystique. Sub-zero temperatures preserve features that would otherwise erode rapidly elsewhere, but wind avalanches and seasonal melt subtly reshape the figure over decades, softening edges, altering proportions, and giving it a dynamic, almost living quality. Unlike stone monuments, which endure as fixed witnesses to history, the ice giant evolves, a creature that ages with the climate, revealing the impermanence inherent in frozen art. Local legends speak of giants who roamed the snowy peaks, protectors of the land, or ancient spirits capable of controlling the weather. Stories tell of travelers guided or warned by colossal figures appearing among glaciers, guardians of hidden valleys, or embodiments of ancient knowledge. Whether myth or memory, these narratives reinforce the ice giant's role as both sentinel and oracle, a figure bridging human imagination and the wild, untamed natural world. The scale of the ice giant is remarkable. Standing beside it, even the tallest humans appear diminutive. Its form dominates the frozen landscape, dwarfing ice caves, snowdrifts, and surrounding rock outcrops. It conveys power and endurance, a presence designed to impress or intimidate. whether the intent was spiritual, ceremonial, or protective. Even in its current partially eroded state, its proportions and stance suggest purpose, deliberate positioning, and an understanding of space and perspective. Scientists and explorers have approached the ice giant with both awe and curiosity. Modern imaging techniques, including 3D scans and thermal mapping, reveal structural details, internal composition, and even subtle tool marks, though interpretations vary. Was it carved entirely by human hands? Did glacial movement assist in shaping the figure? Or is it an extraordinary combination of natural formation and human enhancement? Each hypothesis adds intrigue, and each discovery sparks new questions. The ice giant also serves as a meditation on time and endurance. Unlike statues in stone or bronze, ice is impermanent, vulnerable to the forces of nature, yet paradoxically preserved in extreme cold. It is a reminder that human ambition and artistic vision can exist even in the harshest conditions, but that all creations are ultimately subject to environmental forces beyond control. The figure endures, yet it also reminds us of fragility, change, and the fleeting nature of existence. Standing before the ice giant, one is struck by a profound sense of isolation and reverence. The surrounding glaciers echo with silence, punctuated only by wind and shifting ice. The figure's gaze, frozen yet expressive, conveys wisdom, vigilance, and an almost spiritual presence. It is a reminder that even in remote, inhospitable places, humanity, or perhaps the convergence of human imagination and natural forces, leaves enduring marks. The ice giant also challenges our understanding of scale and ambition. Its monumental proportions, combined with the environment, suggest a vision that transcends mere utility or decoration. Whether guardian, spiritual symbol, or test of endurance, it embodies human engagement with nature at its most extreme, an attempt to leave a statement, to assert presence, and to communicate across generations in a medium as transient as ice, but as enduring as memory. Despite its remoteness, the ice giant inspires those who make the journey. Explorers, scientists, and adventurers describe feelings of awe, humility, and introspection. Its presence evokes contemplation of the passage of time, the forces of nature, and humanity's desire to create, communicate, and endure, even in the harshest of landscapes. It is a monument that speaks without words, commanding respect through presence, form, and silent authority. The ice giant of Kamchatka is more than frozen stone or ice. It is a sentinel, a bridge between past and present, human creativity and the natural world, myth and reality. It reminds us that even in desolate, frozen landscapes, imagination can take monumental form. Its existence challenges our assumptions about what is possible in remote regions and invites reflection on resilience, ingenuity, and the enduring power of awe.